the freedom that you fought for is the very chaos that you're stepping back into when you leave the military, because you are free. You have to make your decisions. You have to be responsible. You have to have some type of discipline to be able to take care of yourself.
Well, man, glad to finally meet you guys in person. I've been talking to you for a month? Yeah. And so Tucker, Dan,
Yes, sir.
Jesse, Tanner, James.
That's right.
All right, maybe I'll remember. I probably won't, but
That's all right.
yeah.
Mike.
Yeah, Mike. Yep. So what brings you guys to Montana other than my small podcast?
So we are going to be doing a retreat for veterans that are coming out here. We actually have the opportunity to be on Ted Turner's ranch, and
nice.
we get to work with Bison and hang out with Bison, and but the real purpose of coming out is when we actually go to the Fireside every night. We have a big fire that we light up and get everybody to gather around it, and long story short, the Fireside chats are all about truth telling. We let everybody know this is your opportunity to tell that truth about yourself that has been eating you up inside forever.
Awesome.
And we will help you decipher whether it's actually true or not, or something for you to hang on to, if it's your opportunity to let it go. So the conversations can get real deep and sometimes difficult, but we're with it the whole time, and we're with the guys the entire time, no matter what happens. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more personal than a therapy session as far as the narrative therapy, pretty much.
Sure.
And I love it. I absolutely love
it's
that.
It's definitely ancillary. We know that professionals have their place. They do their work. They do their job. But we're where you get to say the thing around guys that most likely are going to understand you, so that you can actually release it and let it go. And I think that comes from kind of where Dan and I, even like how we started talking, and where this all came from, the inception of it. So I mean, it was like a 4-hour conversation that he and I had over Skype.
Oh wow.
Yeah, back in like 2017 timeframe, and we've grown this thing ever since. And bringing on new team members and people to be able to interact with. I think after this retreat, it's going to be close to 220 or a little over 220 veterans. We've got on retreats, veterans, first responders, and mainly veterans. And so we've been doing a lot of work. There's a ton of things that we could talk about, but that's basically it. That's why we're out here, to host that retreat and help with that truth telling.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So how did it get started? What was your call to action? I guess I'd say, what kind of.
Yeah, so there was a couple things, obviously, but I was in the Army. I was Army infantry, 13 to 17. Yeah. Okay. I went to Afghanistan, got blown up twice. First one was bad, 200 pounds, I was on fire. Second one was not as bad. Lost my command sergeant major. I did Afghanistan 9 months, came home for 4, then Djibouti 7.5, and that's kind of where I realized I wasn't in the same headspace as I was going into the military. So I started behavioral health. I was doing therapy every day. Just wasn't scratching that itch. You know what I mean? It was informative, but that's where it stopped. And we had our 4-hour conversation. And you just don't feel like you have to hide shit when you're talking to somebody who isn't clinical, right? A clinician. And it just clicked during that 4-hour conversation. Like, oh shit, I'm lacking the social aspect of it. Right. Like I have the clinical and everything. The medications are coming in, the nice different types of therapies and stuff, but that social component didn't exist, and I knew it didn't exist when I got out. Like I had therapy set up for 6 months in advance for when I got out, but the social aspect was non-existent.
Right, and that's like with my therapy. It took me 2 years before I finally actually opened up to my therapist, and then when this whole podcast started, that's when it clicked for me that storytelling is actually what's the healing, and you're not going to get real true storytelling with a therapist. It just doesn't happen. This right here, though, this is where it starts, in my opinion.
That's exactly right. I mean, that's the mission of Project Refit. Super simple. It brings it into it. Dan's talking about that social component, getting connected back into people. I mean, so our mission is to combat isolation. That's our mission. And how you do that it is a multifaceted approach. It is a very important aspect of human society and living, right? And actually, so for me, where it came from was when I was at Columbia and I was studying negotiation and conflict resolution. I really came to the conclusion after this one study about like chimps and apes and things like that. It was actually the main one was Franz de Waal. He was talking about the chimpanzee tribes, and it just opened up my eyes to a lot. And really, the communication of the one story that pops out in my mind is how when a bigger ape is trying to clean the other one, like picking up bugs and stuff, and doing it. Well, if they mess up, they don't communicate it, so he has to let him know he messed up. And the bigger ape turns around and like hits the little guy. The little guy runs away and like sulks a little bit. But the thing that's special and powerful is the big guy, after X amount of minutes, a long time, he comes over and then he consults and then shows the little guy how to do it. And then after he shows him, he taps his back, like, go ahead and try it the way I just showed you. And then the guy does it and it's all good to go. So really what that is it's the leadership, it's the communication, it's we're actually doing this thing together and I want to help you and I want to help guide you. And I was like, man, that's special. Like that's a special way to, get people out to share and talk and communicate. So that's where a lot of it started to bloom, and reached out to Dan and had that conversation like we were just talking about. And it's been history ever since, like that's it.
Right.
So,
You guys you've grown a pretty good bit too since you started. I mean, your Facebook following is what, 9,000, if I remember right?
yeah.
I remember when it was like 45.
40.
I remember when it was like 45 followers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like where I'm at now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're going to grow fast.
Yeah. So what kind of challenges? How have you overcome the challenge of getting guys to actually open up and actually have the conversation with you? Because that's something I've been having. That we all have a hard time with. Is we don't really want to talk to anybody, right? So how have you approached it to get people to come to these retreats and get to open up and have the conversations?
So before you get into that, one thing I wanted to add too was about the fireside chats that you were saying. Not so we can skip past it though, but it does have to do with people opening up, and it's like with how you said like the true healing part of it all is like storytelling, right? One of the biggest things though with a fireside chat is like the realization, like we all carry this baggage.
Right.
Like everybody's bag may not be as heavy as the other person's, and we're not one to compare and contrast of like one person's struggles compared to another. But like realizing at these fireside chats that like this is your opportunity to no longer carry that baggage alone. And like everybody at this fire is here for one reason, and that is to help you carry that. And I think there's a lot of healing that goes in that too. It's because it's like, all right, like I'm not in this story of mine alone anymore. Like I've had this opportunity in this fire right now to finally say my piece. And these guys around this fire right now are willing to take that part of what I'm carrying and accept it with me. And now I can walk away from this fire like
Right.
with
It's
them carrying it with me,
It's the whole following through of the I got your six mantra that everybody talks about.
Right.
Where everybody talks about I got your six and you're not alone and all this, but nobody really shows that follow through.
I have an analogy for it.
Oh, okay.
There's a great analogy for it. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions for you to actually understand it. So when you break your arm, what do you put on your arm?
Cast.
Right. Inside of a play, like a Broadway play, what do you call all the people that are a part of it?
What, the cast members?
A cast, right?
Yeah, cast,
so it's a story that's up on Broadway. How do you heal your mind? You got to have a supporting cast around you. You got to have other people to be a part of it with you, and that's what heals your mind. That's why we all understand that so innately, that the story itself, the true story itself is the thing that matters most. That's when we actually begin to feel the healing, because you have a bunch of people around you that can actually support you and move forward with a healthy life. That's another thing that we try to aim for, is like push you towards a healthier life in your story. Use your pain and use your suffering to write the rest of your life, right? To write the rest of the story of your life. So it's not a burden at that point. It's now a powerful thing that you can use.
Right. It's now a lesson that you can take and grow from.
That's right.
Exactly.
Pass on to others.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think to answer your question about like how to reach them, it's honestly not difficult. Like for what we represent and how long we've been going.
Yeah.
I think with the mental health turn that's happened in the last couple of years, especially with the younger vets getting out, I will say the older vets are a little more challenging to get to. But I feel like the younger vets are just waiting for someone to listen to them. So when you sit there and come authentically, like, just tell me about you, they don't, because they haven't had somebody do that either ever or in years.
Right, exactly. And I've noticed, like, I've put calls out for my community here, trying to get local guys to come and have conversations with me, and some of the backlash you get that I receive is just it's insane. You know, people think that I'm doing this for me, and I'm like, yeah, it helps me out. Absolutely, it helps me out. But I'm trying to get other people to tell their stories so that one, the community understands, and two, it helps open up a healing for the individual. Because I'm sorry, the meds play a role, like you were saying earlier, but in my opinion, it's not the meds. It's not. It's community. It's 100%. It's
the environment.
Yeah, exactly.
Your environment changes, you thrive again.
Yep, exactly.
And we're reimagining the environment for when they get out.
Yep, exactly. And I think the fireside chats that you guys do, I freaking love it. I love it. I'm kind of sort of playing with the idea of trying to do some stuff up here, but just I have not gotten any good feedback on it. Yeah. So it's challenging. You know, starting out, it's challenging. You guys know.
Something that Tucker and I are working on right now is developing like partnerships with organizations that can help us to spread the fireside chat like idea around to different organizations and people to allow it to happen, but also to have people, if they want to start their own fire team, their own fireside chat in their community, they can. So that's something that we're actively pushing, right now. So if you want to get help with that,
we can chat about that later. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, hit us up for sure.
Absolutely. That and so what all is the plans for the retreat? What are you guys doing specifically this coming up week? You were saying earlier you were doing ice fishing on Sunday or Saturday?
Saturday.
Yeah. But other than the fireside chats and that, what's your other plans to help some of these guys out?
We talk about some of the ones we've done in the past, and then we can also talk about what we're doing on this one. So depending on location, which retreat it is, we'll obviously aim to do different things. We just recently did a partnership retreat, and we went out to Washington State. And when we were out there, we did horseback riding. We hit some trails and stuff like that. Just kind of depending on which location we go to, kind of using our environment and seeing what we can do. South Dakota, we worked on the ranch. We helped out. That's even a topic in its own, which would be healing through work.
Sweat equity.
Yeah, sweat equity.
Absolutely.
That's another topic. And then out here we were venturing off, and kind of the ranch manager was taking us around. So that's one of the things we plan on going around and traveling the ranch, seeing all the views, seeing the bison. There's a couple other things in work we still haven't figured out yet what we're going to do out there, but ice fishing would be the main one.
You just sparked a memory too when you brought up bison. So the last episode you just did with, we just talked about it. I can't remember.
Zero Foxtrot.
Zero Foxtrot.
Stay zero.
I'm not sure. I think it was you. And you brought up how bison go into the storm instead of how cows they run away from it. That's and that's kind of how you guys approach this.
That's right.
Right. And,
that's exactly right. So the thing that we actually learned that from the South Dakota ranch, and that was just
Arlen.
Oh my God. Yeah. Arlen. Yeah. He's a Marine. He was working on the ranch out in South Dakota, and he brought that up to us, and we're like, man, that is, talk about a great way to portray the purpose of facing what you're going through instead of wallowing or, living a easy, ignorant life in terms of you don't want to face your own internal demons, which will just destroy you. It's actually facing them head on instead of allowing yourself to die slowly. You get to move through the storm sooner.
Ask me how I know.
Yeah, man.
But I thought that was a great analogy, especially out here in the Midwest, Midwest, because it's just. It just clicked, when you made the analogy of how bison go into the storm and how more of them survive because they get out of it sooner than how they run away, but and more of them die because they're in it longer. Yes. And it was just it's a strong analogy. I think it's perfect.
Face the storm, baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think I kind of got ahead of myself talking about the project and everything, and I didn't really get an introduction from any of you guys.
That's
so
okay.
I apologize about that.
No, it's all right.
So we
jumped right into it.
Yeah, we already kind of got yours now.
Yeah.
What about you, Tanner?
So Tanner Ortiz. I'm an 8-year active duty Army vet, stationed at the 101st for 3.5 years. And then I PCS from there to Fort Lewis, Washington, and I did another 3.5 or whatever our time adds up to make it 8. Did not go on any combat deployments. I did 9 months in Kuwait. Got stuck at,
Buring or
Buring. Yeah, Buring. I was supposed to go forward, man, and they stuck me at Buring, and it's like, have fun.
I feel for you, dude.
Dude, it sucks. It's only like I have the biggest accomplishment of the whole entire thing was making it back from Buring and not getting divorced. Because I can't tell you how many people came back from that place and then divorced after. So,
oh man, how's the USO there with the? Well, now it's probably all changed since I was there in 2009, but there wasn't a lot to do. There was a lot to get in trouble.
Right. Yeah, there's some crazy stuff that happens out there. People have too much time on their hands, man, and they end up doing some dumb stuff.
Talking about dumb stuff, I got some stories of not from me personally, but from a guy I knew that involved an 88 and a 113, and yeah, he got caught twice with the female soldier, an 88 and a 113.
Damn.
Yeah, in Buring.
Dang.
Oh man, everything's open out there too.
It's crazy, man. Some of these guys just don't use their head.
No. But yes, right.
It's like we was in Buring, we hadn't even crossed the border yet. So it's like you couldn't wait.
Right.
Oh man. And
so I'm James, co-founder of Refit. I'm actually civilian and came up with a lot of this to give back to the community. There's more to my stories of why I decided to do all this, but that's for another time, maybe later in the podcast or something. But that's it. It's me. So you got Tucker.
Tucker, still in. Been in for 12 and a half years. 13 Fox the whole time. No combat deployments. I've been all over the Pacific. I'm an Entropian veteran. 5-time Entropian trap lord.
Oh yeah, you fight that war.
Yeah. Still fighting it. So,
Dude, Stropians.
We're not pulling out of that one. I'm determined. But no, I ended up having 5 surgeries over the past couple of years. Found out that I needed a 6th on my shoulder. And at that point, it was just a discussion with my physical therapist and PA that was no longer voluntary or opinion-based. It's like, hey, you're about to be 31, and your 6 surgeries on a 31-year-old is absurd, and you need to think about your quality of life afterwards.
So you had you and James both had those pressure tests, and was it you, Tucker?
Yeah, I had the compartment syndrome.
Yeah.
It's fucking awful.
Oh, you listened to Greg Anderson's podcast?
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. It was the Greg Anderson podcast. Yeah.
It was one of them. I can't.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's right.
Don't.
That's wild. That's wild, dude. How they do that? That is wild.
I went to Madigan, right?
Right.
No fucking anesthetic. None. They just had me walk on the treadmill, sit on the table, and then just slammed a fucking needle into every one of my compartments.
Right. Oh man.
And so they push the fluid in. They get the PSI reading by how much fluid your leg pushes back out.
Right.
So did that. It was miserable.
It's pretty painful.
And I ended up getting the fasciotomy on that leg. Go to Allenmore in Tacoma for the next one. It's off base.
Okay.
Civilian doctor, anesthetic, didn't feel shit. Wondering why in the hell I sat there the first time.
Dude, that's the military for you, man. No lidocaine, no nothing.
Dude, I have like a bum eye. Army doctor was like, you're gonna have to wear an eye patch. Like I got the blown up. Like now one of the muscles turns too much or whatever. Right. And I went to that was in 2016. He was like, you're either eye patching it or you're cross-eyed. Like deal with it. I went to a civilian optometrist last year, and he was like, dude, they've been doing that surgery since the 50s. It's perfected. You can get your eye fixed. I was like, shit. Right. Damn.
Right. Yeah, like I was telling my wife one night, or no, she was watching TV, and she saw somebody get a shot in the knee, and I was like, yeah, I've done that. She's like, I'm like, don't you remember me telling you about that? She's like, it looks like it hurts because the needle's like that long, and they pulling fluid and give me steroid shots and all that. So I've done all that, and I'm like, wasn't that big of a deal. Then I heard you guys talk about the PSI test, and I'm like, no way. No freaking way do I want to do that.
Yeah, that hurt.
Because I've had the needle in the knee, and no, I'm good on that, man.
Yeah, that one hurt, but they can give you lidocaine, and apparently it doesn't hurt that bad.
Right.
I know it doesn't hurt that bad. But after that, I had 2 ligament reconstructions in my ankles, a ligament reconstruction in my hand, and I have a couple torn things in my right shoulder. So it was just time to.
So 13 Fox, is that forward observing or is that artillery?
It's in artillery branch. It's forward
Okay.
observing.
It is forward observing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would have been attached to Dan's platoon.
Just calling in fire and all that
Yeah.
good stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I did a little bit of, not an actual MOS, but when we got back from Iraq, we all cross-trained. So when I got back, my entire platoon went out and just did a day class with forward observing. Why? I don't know. I was a fucking mechanic.
Mortars
Why we did that, I have no idea.
You never know.
Probably had to shoot.
Yeah, and then so we got back from Iraq. We did that like 1-2 day forward observing class, and then they wanted to put me as a gunner on a gun truck. I'm like, I'm a fucking mechanic, bro. But whatever. Fine.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, whatever. It's just so that kind of takes me into you might just be a mechanic, you might just be a cook, you might just be a whatever, but you can get thrown into anything. I mean, anything. Like 11 Bravo. So I'm sure you had guys that went out with you that didn't have a clue what they were doing, that was completely different on MOS, that just got voluntold to do it.
100%.
Yep.
I will say something good though, because we didn't have a lot of good attachments. Some of them were a little, right? We had a Cav Scout attached to us in Afghanistan.
Cav unit.
He was a monster, and like we were. That was early in, so I was very institutionalized as an 11 Bravo. Like,
Right.
Pogue. Wasn't saying it to him obviously, but we were in a firefight and it was like the Kalat walls were at like 800 meters away, and I had a 50 cal with the T&E on it, and he was like, "Dude, pull it back, fire 3-round burst, and we'll see where it goes." And it like landed like a foot away from like the murder hole, and he was like 3 clicks over, 4 clicks. He just knew what to do, and it just went straight through. He was a badass.
Yeah,
The only nice one I met.
Yeah, I'm not sure if 11 Bravo. I'm not sure you guys do gunnery ranges and stuff like that, but I'm sure it's dismounted.
Well, no, because like I was mechanized too.
Oh, okay.
So my first unit was light infantry, and then I went mechanized after that. So it's gunnery.
Okay, so
with
your
the
guys'
Bradleys and
gunnery is
shit.
kind of like
Yeah.
ours. I was in a cab, 3-1 cab is what I was in. So we, even though I was a tech mechanic, we had to go to the gunnery range and do all that fun shit too. Those guys, man, you hear a lot of shit, cabbing shit.
Cav
Those guys,
shit.
those guys train, man.
Cav's the shit. I mean, it's yeah, no, they're good. It
I'll
was something
give-
to hate. You know
I'll
what I
give
mean?
them
It was
shit
just
about
that
the
little.
Stetson, but
Right. Yes. Yeah. Like Spurs.
the spur ride's no joke though, man.
I would never. I wouldn't even do
Spur ride's no
EIB.
joke.
I got the CIB, and I don't need EIB. Nothing.
Every story needs a villain. Fuck
Yeah.
Well, that's the Marines, man.
Right.
Scouts.
Or the Air Force.
They're actually getting phased out. And
Cap Scouts are?
active duty, yeah, because they suck.
Come on now. I actually got
But for real, they're phasing them out. What's it? Contiguous United States.
Yeah.
They're keeping them in overseas.
Really?
duty locations. Yeah.
So I
Damn.
wonder if that's why my unit got cased. Because they
Yeah, they're
When did it
smaller
get cased?
cap colors.
2014, I think.
Yeah, it was a combat unit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was because the war ended. The original unit I was with got disbanded as soon as we came back from Afghanistan.
The
Okay.
Cav.
Yeah, they got cased after
Yep.
I got out.
Yeah.
The Cav drawback was like super recent.
Oh, okay.
Post-COVID decision.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was for us. It was Obama declared the war over in Afghanistan, so those units that were made for it go through the rest of the base.
There
That's
was
not
a
good.
story that we had from one guy who was a Marine who talked about they had a cook that they loved pulling off the line to go fight with them every day because he was a monster. He was like he was better at fighting than some of the infantry Marines. Like he was just a pure savage. So I guess you can find gold, anywhere really.
So we had a kid. We got back from Iraq, and we had this kid that was on rear D. He just got into the unit, and at first I was super envious, jealous, or whatever, because like all of us, if you guys probably know, if you got high enough GT scores, you're always getting emails in your AKO about trying out for fucking SF and all this shit. Well, I was one of those guys that I kept getting emails. I never did it. I can't run. I'm a horrible runner. I can't run.
Yeah.
So I never once.
Kind of need to.
I never once had that dream of going SF. But another kid in our unit who had been rear D, he went after it, and the treatment he got from our first sergeant dude, it pissed me off a lot, because he wasn't a shit by any means. He was a great soldier, but he was just given preferential treatment, and that, Yeah.
favoritism.
Yeah, all because he was going SF, which great. That's awesome. You're not going to SF. You're going to selection.
Right.
So,
right.
So
you're still a regular
once you
soldier
get through
right now.
selection, then come talk to me.
Right.
But
Find out 5 points first.
Right.
but just the treatment he got, it was just Dude, not having to do PT, going to the gym, and if he was late, no big deal or whatever.
Probably wasn't shaving.
No, he actually had to keep those standards.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
All
It was just the more of the this is my favorite guy.
Yeah.
You know.
The stud.
Yeah. But I have no clue what he did afterwards. I have no clue if he made it through SF selection or not. I know my at the time my brother-in-law, he was going through Ranger school, and he didn't make it through. He didn't even finish Ranger school because I think he broke his leg in training.
Damn.
So they put him to it with regular. I think he went to regular infantry.
Yeah.
After that.
That sucks.
Yeah, there's guys a lot of guys get a lot of injuries in selection and through the schools. You know.
And like those injuries, like some of them are like a one-time deal. Like you're not going, you're not trying out again ever.
Or you're getting kicked out.
Med boarded.
Yeah. And I wonder how that works when the guys get med boarded during selection and like BCT. So if they get an injury there, but they haven't made it through BCT to go into AIT, they're fucked.
No, they're still good. Once you sign once you go to basic,
right?
Anything that happens in basic, you can claim.
Oh, so they're good.
They're good. They're good.
Yeah, they can still catch any.
But like if he messes his leg up, right? Say he breaks his what?
For all the people who aren't going to get their VA because somebody got hurt worse than them, somebody had it worse, the dudes didn't come back, like, so I don't need it, whatever. There are people who went to basic training and broke a leg, broke a hip, whatever.
A finger.
Yeah, and they're getting a percentage, so go get your fucking percentage.
No, I'm going to add on to that. It's the funding stops if veterans don't keep claiming disability. They will stop funding it. So the more veterans that go and get their percentages or get the increases because they haven't even touched it in 10 years, they got the 30% and just accepted it for what it was.
Yep.
They got burned one time from a bad VSO. Their claims never went through. Whatever the reason is, if you don't claim, the future veterans are not going to be able to claim.
Exactly.
And like I run into, like I'm 34. I run into a lot of guys like my age or a little bit younger, and I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. There's scarring. You can see it.
Yeah.
Your knee's messed up. You're good now. In 15 years, you're not going to be
Right,
good.
exactly.
And then you might not be able to claim that then because you waited so long. Get it done now, even though you don't need it. Nope. It's money, it's health insurance, and anything that happens with that injury is covered through the VA now.
Yeah, I was that guy. So I'm 34 now. I got out in 2012, so I was 22. I got kicked out 100%. I'll tell you straight up. I was one of those guys that got kicked out. Got caught for 117 and a 55 on post. You know, got arrested by the MPs and
That's
all that. There's more. But we got back. That was strike one. Strike two was we were in the field. We went to the field. I was pulled out of the field to go and see Jag before the speeding ticket, when to go see Jag. And then when I came back, they essentially missed movement, right? Essentially missed movement to go back to the field. And that was like the straw.
Yeah.
But after being out for so long, I went 10 years, and then I met my wife. And my wife and her family are the ones that convinced me to go to the VA. And then going through that process, come to find out, I'm severe PTSD, like severe. Mm-hmm. And then looking back on everything, it's like, well, maybe my leadership kind of fucked me. Maybe instead of you're being a shitbag, maybe we should see what's going on. And none of that ever happened.
We were just having this conversation.
Part of that's on me because when I got out, when they kicked me out and they pushed me through the process of going through medical and going through all of that, at that point I was just like, fuck it, you're kicking me out. I'm good.
Mm-hmm. Sign it off.
Yep.
Sign everything
Let
off.
me get this over with now.
Yep. And then so part of that's on me because I wasn't honest. But I feel like the leaders then, I can't say anything about now, but I feel like the leaders then, we were pretty much over with Iraq. We were pretty much done. I was in third ID. Third ID is a fucking shit show to begin with. It sounds like you know.
Great things.
And I think they just wanted to get rid of people that just didn't, that were problem child. Mm-hmm. Instead of actually reaching out and trying to give them a hand. I won't put it all on my leadership because some of it was absolutely my fault. Because I'm
How
the
long
one that
were you
did
in?
some of the shit. I was only 4 years. So 8 to 12.
So I don't think it's like that much your fault, right? Because you were
partially. I'm not going to put everything on them.
Yes,
I'm not going to.
It is the majority of it is the leadership, though. They're only training for the mission.
Right.
You're still a
right.
human being.
Okay.
You're going to get it. You're not spending 50 years in the military.
Right. Right.
You're getting out at some point, and not one leader focuses on that point. Hey, you're leaving. Even if you're getting kicked out, what's your plan?
Oh,
what's going to happen to you?
The guy that was doing all my out processing, he was reclassing to 11 Bravo, so he didn't give a fuck either.
Nope.
He just didn't. He's like, just go do your shit. I'm gonna go do mine.
Nope.
Let's get the fuck out of here. You know, there was no, hey, are you sure you're okay? There was none of that. You know, it was just go do your shit. Let's go. Sergeant Q, great dude. I wish I would have taken a lot more lessons from him than what I did because he was a really smart guy. But at that point in time, it was just like, fuck it, we're done. You're a shitbag. I'm getting out. I'm reclassing. Fuck it. And yeah.
So when did you end up going to the VA?
2000. Well, I got married in 20, so it would have been my wedding day. I went to the VA for my knee injury. So right before we got like 19, 20.
Nice.
When I started going. So
From
like 8
getting out
years
at
after I got
12.
out.
Yeah. From getting out at 12.
Yeah. It's all because of my wife.
And then how for your claim process, was it smooth, or did you have to like fight a lot because of how long you were out?
I didn't play games. I didn't play games. Once my therapist told, because at first I got 50%, and I was having conversations with my therapist and all that stuff. And she asked me one day, she was like, have you ever thought about getting, having your claim redone and trying to get more disability? I'm like, no, this is what they gave me. I'm good. She's like, no, you need to go after it. I'm like, if my psychologist is telling me this, then I'm going to do it. So I hired a company to go and do everything.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't play games. In my mind, if my psychologist was telling me this, then I'm just going to go ahead and just do it.
For people listening, though, you don't necessarily need to hire a company.
And I've learned a lot since I've done it.
A lot of them take where there's accredited VSOs through VFWs, through the VA, other American Legions. That is their sole job to your claims or reassess them, and it's free for you always.
And the guys also need to understand that a lot of these companies are predatory.
Yeah.
The one I went through, he was a Marine. He was the first sergeant in the Marine Corps. He was a good dude. His name's Mark. I've sent 2 guys to him. I don't feel like he's doing it for the money because they do take a substantial.
What they'll do is they'll
75% of your back pay.
They'll drag it along
took
so
like
that
50.
the back pay is higher though. Like they'll make your claim last longer so they get more money.
My guy did good. That's
nice.
like
The worst I've heard was like 29 grand out of a 40 grand back pay.
whoa, man.
Damn.
See, mine ended up being 14. I ended up paying him 14,000. Knowing what I know now, I could have done them all myself.
Yes.
But,
Yeah.
knowing what I know
But
now.
for being in that position, for getting what you needed at that time,
Yep.
it was the fastest thing for you at that time.
And for me, it's not even. I don't even really care about the money. Does it help? Absolutely, but it's more for my kids because now, like my job doesn't give very good health insurance, but now I don't have to worry about it because now my kids have the same insurance I got. So we're good. My wife is good. My kids are good. Like that was the main thing for me, as far as getting 100%. And that's
Permanent total?
Yeah, permanent total. Yeah, no, not TDP. No, not TDP.
P&T,
No, the temporary.
No,
Temporary.
the temp one, whatever the temp.
Yeah,
is.
not the temp.
No,
yeah.
I'm P&T.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's just 100%.
Yeah.
And then 100% permanent total. And then
Yeah, it's not. They've got it classified as there's no. However they word it, there's no. They don't see it getting better. In
Yeah,
the future.
it's a
They see it getting
persistent.
worse.
It's persistent.
They see it getting worse.
Chronic.
One thing I didn't know that was a part of PTSD was this is crazy. I haven't talked about this in forever. So do you guys ever get like the creepy crawly feelings like something's crawling over you?
All the time.
That's part of PTSD.
Really?
Yeah, I did not know that. I did not know that.
Like feeling like there's a bug on you.
Yeah, that's part of PTSD. And when they told me that, I'm like, well, add that to the fucking list because I didn't know.
I'll get cold chills and make noises. I'll get cold chills and make noises. I will. I'll get cold chills and be like, "Ugh."
Yeah,
Why did I just do that involuntarily?
yeah, like I don't know. That's kind of not. That's not the same realm of what I'm.
You're talking about like literally.
Like you feel like something's kind of crawling
Yeah.
on your skin. You know what
Yeah.
I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
no, it happens.
Yeah, and that's 100% PTSD.
And I'm like terrified of bugs, so like I'm skitzing. I'm like, oh fuck, oh, that's not even a fucking spider.
If getting 100% permanent total 7 years later isn't enough for listeners to go do it, that's totally fine. I understand that. But if you think the government can spend that money better than you, By all means.
Let's not. I mean, we can, but
that's like the last thing. Like Greg said that to us, and I was like, "That's fucking perfect."
oh yeah,
Like if you don't want the money, you don't think you deserve it, whatever, and you think the government's going to give it to people who deserve it better than you can.
my favorite thing that he said about that was, like, he plugged you guys in that, was like organizations like yours can use that cash, but way better than the government can. But for me, what hit home with that was your kids. Do your kids deserve it?
I was just going to say that.
You know,
if you have a family, that should be the number one reason you do it.
Exactly. Like, and yeah, I did for whatever. There's guys that did a lot less than me. That's got more than I did before I even started going through the process.
I think that's
like
what
the guys,
discourages
like
me.
the guys in basic.
Not even that. Like I think that's what discourages people. Like you have people who have actually done things, and even if I'm not talking combat, like you were in the military, you were in there for a decent amount of time, you got injured. I had this kid who he didn't want to go on a 3-week field problem. Mm-hmm. He was wrestling the day before it, and genuinely messed his shoulder up. At the field problem, walked out of the bus and fell on the ground. He got medically discharged for 60%. So then you have people who are genuinely struggling and see some dude who was in for a year maybe getting 60%, and it's a comparison at that point.
Yep.
I don't want to be like him.
I don't want to be like, I see what he has and I know he doesn't deserve it.
No,
I don't want people seeing me like
I
that.
saw dudes walking around on fucking canes for a year, and they get out, they get their 100%,
And
all of a
good.
sudden they're
That
personal
cane's
fucking
gone.
trainers.
Yep.
Literally.
They're playing basketball.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to rat them to the VA.
also, nobody fucking has to know your percentage.
Exactly. See, I told one of my best friends, I was like, I'm doing this. Because I haul cattle. And I was like, I'm going to stop hauling cattle. I'm getting out of the truck. This is going to help me get out of the truck and be home with my kids. And he went up to his little VA clinic that they have up there and was talking to somebody and was like, oh, those guys that do it like that hire people to do it, they don't deserve it. And I'm like, all right, bud, if you think I don't deserve it and you think that I don't have what the VA says I have, then report me.
Oh, he's saying because you paid a company to do it?
Because I paid a company to help me with the bureaucracy.
Right. Look at the VA system and then
Exactly.
there are that's
Now there are predatory companies out there,
but there's some good
100%.
ones too.
And there are good ones. That's where research comes into play.
Yes.
You know, as an individual. But I had that conversation with my friend, and he was like, "Oh, you just you're taking another check from people who don't need it, from people that do need it." And I'm like, "Okay, write a fucking letter to the governor.
Right.
Write a letter to the governor. Report me to the VA. Whatever." All my medical files I used was what the VA had. I didn't go see another doctor. I didn't go do any. It was what the VA had in their files. Mm-hmm. So you can't fuck. You can fuck the VA, but it's harder than people think. Actually, Greg even made a comment about that.
Yeah, it comes back around. You can't fuck the VA.
Exactly.
And even if you did, it's gonna be such a worse process when it happens.
If you fuck the VA, you probably got what you deserve.
Right.
And
Yeah, right.
just go on living like you think you got one.
Yeah, it's your win, dude.
So I've got Apple Health connected to my VA records, and the amount of stuff that they record is unbelievable. Because anytime there's an update to my file, I get it on my phone, and phone calls. Every phone call that I've ever had with the VA is on file. Every conversation I've had with a psychologist is on file. Anytime I've seen a doctor for anything is on file, and like almost immediately.
I think that is why most veterans don't want to go to therapy, right? Like outside, after the Army, they want to go to the VA because now everything is documented. For people who have deployed to a combat zone, if you are an MST survivor, if you are a yellow ribbon,
Gold Star?
Thank you, Jesus. You can go to vet centers for free.
Yeah.
They're the only people who can go to vet centers, and so the vet centers were founded during the Vietnam, right? The Vietnam veterans came back; they were treated like shit. They got their own peer certifications, and then they built their little VFW groups. And then the VA saw what was happening. They're like, "Hey, that's working. We're going to fund you, but we're not touching it."
Right.
So now vet centers, the only way that they submit your information to the VA is when you sign off on the form.
Right.
So you can talk openly and not worry about the VA looking and trying to take your disability for something you said, which wouldn't happen anyway.
But that's not an issue. I don't perceive that as being an issue, because the VA they don't. No, how do I say this? Do they make it hard? Do they make it? Could it be easier to do things? Yes. Are they trying to fuck you? I don't think so.
I've only run into one veteran who has had their disability rating decreased. Only one.
But what was the reasoning behind it though? Was there?
He went for an increase.
Well, see, that's the
and
only
it got
time they can
better.
change it.
And right, exactly.
Right.
And then veterans also think that. So say I have PTSD back, feet, and eyes. If I go to increase my eyes, they can't look at the other three. It's what you're claiming.
Right, it's what you're claiming.
Increase.
Yeah, they're not going to change you unless you go to file for an increase, and then at that point they'll look at your records and say, "Well, hey, you've actually been getting better."
Right.
So now we're gonna. They're not just going to do it out of the blue.
Right.
As far
Unless
as
they get a report that
Right.
say you have bad legs, you're out here sprinting. You're out here running 2 miles a day.
Right,
Then
right.
that's the only
I don't-
time they should.
because I did a little bit of research on it because when I got my PNT, I'm like, okay, is it really permanent total?
Right.
So I did some research into it, and there's very few times that people get brought down.
Yeah.
There's very, very few. Does it happen? Yes. But a lot of all these doctors and all these psychologists that are at the VA, most of them, they're all veterans. And if they're not, they're civilians that are there because they want to help, because the VA don't pay good. The VA doesn't pay their doctors good. So
If you get dropped from P&T,
You did something.
it's your fault.
You did
because
something.
You never have to get reevaluated again at P&T.
Right.
But see, there's
So-
the 10-year rule or the 15-year
Five.
rule.
I think it's like 5. You get reassessed within 5
But
years.
that's if you're not PNT.
Yeah,
Yes.
If you're PNT,
You're good.
You're good.
You're
Yeah.
Never be talked to again about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are scared of that because they're like, they don't want to get used to that check coming.
Yes.
And then, well, what happens in 5 years? I'll lose it. You just got to find out what your classifications are, and it's all in your file.
I think that's another reason it's pretty easy when you get somebody on a retreat for them to open up, because it's not like nobody wants to talk.
Right.
It's that the people that they talk to
Didn't want to listen.
don't get it,
Yeah.
overreact to the statement. Like, I got put on antidepressants, and I was talking to my parents about it, and I was like, "Oh, I got to take my medicine today so that I don't get cut off on the highway and picture myself killing a family of 5." And the look on my mom's face was pure horror, and I was like, "Oh fuck,
I said something bad.
shit."
So so my wife had talked to me, and her parents had talked to me about going to the VA, and my wife's grandfather was Vietnam vet. He Agent Orange, all that stuff. He ended up getting screwed.
The medicines, we're good.
Get a dime from the VA. All right. So they were really hard on me about going to the VA and getting all shit. And I never really took it seriously until my son from Georgia, he was up here, and for the summer, and he would wanted some video game or whatever for the Switch, and my wife had made a comment, and I just kind of snapped at her, right? And that night or the next night, my wife came to me, and she's like, "I'm fucking scared." I'm like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "I'm fucking terrified that my parents are gonna watch the fucking news, and one day they're gonna see a story of vet kills family and they commit suicide." And that is why I went to the VA.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying the VA is the only place to get help, but it's my story, right?
Right.
When my wife told me that, it was a wake up call, and that is why I started going, and that's why I'm a proponent of the VA, even though I hear all these horror stories. They helped me. That my psychologist, even though it took her 2 years for me to open up, my psychologist fucking helped. And then doing this podcast, talking to other vets and even guys that aren't vets, but you still want to be here, you still want to hear the stories, you still want to help. I have found that just sharing my story and listening to other stories has helped me as well. You know, it's amazing how much vocalizing things helps.
Yeah.
You know,
That's something we've talked about in the beginning. My biggest issue is still to this ruminating. Just sitting with my thoughts and not being able to break the cycle of that negative thought pattern.
Yep.
Damn, it's running away. Hold on. What did you just say?
People, stories, connection.
self-destruction.
That's gonna piss me off.
ADD?
Yeah.
Yeah, me
Pulling
too.
up. TBIs.
You hit on a key point though, and that kind of brings it back to the importance of a fireside chat. You sharing your story right now and saying something as hard as that is. I'm sure at first it wasn't as easy to say something as that, but the way you're able to at least in this moment just come out and say something like that, it's very gripping, right? It's very tough. It's very hard to be able to have the one to be able to put your pride aside and then be able to be honest with it and be like, this is my story. This is But there's so many other people though, exactly like he said. He said that and his mom looked at him like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And it's crazy, right? Because there's so many veterans that have like whatever is going on in their minds, crazy fucking thoughts. And sometimes we just think we're the only fucking people that ever have them. truth of it is no, we're not. And it sucks though, because so many people do carry those, and they're just like, dude, I can't believe I just had this wild ass fucking thought, or whatever the case may be. They hold it, eats them up inside, and that could lead to more problems, right? But you just, like you said, being able to tell people these things allows you to get it off your chest. And
it makes it tangible, right? So like I've had like thoughts that I didn't believe. They were thoughts though, right? Like they were in there, but I didn't believe them, but they stayed so long because I didn't verbalize that I believe them, right? Like I knew they were irrational and insane, but because I just, yep, it's here. That's the thing. The second I would verbalize it out loud, what the fuck was that, dude?
Exactly.
That was nasty.
Exactly.
I actually just, with my girlfriend I did therapy back in 2016, CPT, did a lot of writing and shit, and I just read for the first time since then, the first fucking page. Dude, so much hate. So much fucking hate. There was not one good thing, not one. It was pure hatred and negativity. And then I started verbalizing the things, and I could write the story now, and there wouldn't be an ounce of negative. Right. There'd be like 1 ounce of negativity. I had to catch that one.
So like we were talking about earlier before we started about how I kind of got started in the podcasting game, how I got dared to do it. Well, yeah, I think we're still good. If not, I can edit it. But so it was getting started. This was a dare from a couple friends of mine, and when I hit record that very first time, I had no plan, and I just started talking, and it's still up now. I still have that very first episode up, and I hate it. I hate that episode. But what I started talking about was a story that I just told, and I fucking broke down. That was the first time I had ever publicly.
Now, was there a guest, or was it just you talking? Nice. Okay.
Just me by myself.
Yeah.
And just talking.
Yeah.
And that was a story that I decided to tell. And I posted it, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to do this again because I don't
like that feeling at all.
I don't like those memories. And then I got an email from somebody that was like, hey, your story really resonates. Where do I go for help? And from that email, this is the only thing I want to do. And
off the first episode.
Off the very first episode.
Wild.
Yeah. And this is, I'm going to college now for a bachelor's degree in media communication because of this podcast, to make this podcast better, and to coordinate with groups like yours, and because it's about me, but it's not about me.
Right. It's you're getting something from it, but you're giving more than you're getting.
I want to give more than what I want to take from it, and like that's why I want to coordinate with groups like yours and do without the Fireside chats, because that is, you're doing in person what I'm trying to do over the airwaves, and
We're trying to do it over the airways too.
well, you guys got a podcast. Well, you got a vlog. You got a podcast too, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought you did. Yeah. Because I know on Facebook, I see you guys posting videos all the time of doing recordings and stuff.
We're uploading them now.
FML.
I think exactly what both of you are explaining is why it's easier to get to the younger veterans, along with culture change and all that. But the younger veterans are still, they haven't had those interactions where they say something and somebody looks at them like they need to be locked away.
No.
Like, I'm not going to say that I actually envision myself pit maneuvering a family in a van.
I have.
I'm not going to say that I didn't picture that if I got cut off on the highway.
100% I have.
But
Yeah.
So I think if we keep getting to younger veterans because they haven't had the interactions that tell them like, oh, I can't be that.
The stigmas, if you will.
Yeah,
exactly.
And so
They haven't been stigmatized yet.
those are the people who sit around the fire or the conversation or whatever, and they see other people being like, I was going to swallow all of my blood pressure medicine like 2 months ago. And the only thing that stopped me was X, Y, and Z. And they're like, nobody here looked at him like he was fucking insane.
Right. People are shaking their heads. Yes.
Yeah.
I have an example for that. So my buddy Vika, he was a Marine Corps and National Guard vet. He owns Bearded Viking Meat Company. You guys should check him out. Great meat. He's out of Columbus, Montana. I plug you, buddy. But anyway, and he came and did an episode with me, one of my first episodes, and he shared the story of how, if I remember right, it was Christmas one year, and he didn't have his kids, and he was just, He was living with a buddy of his, and it was just a bad time.
Mm-hmm.
He had his gun in his mouth, and the reason why he's still here today is because of his dog. His dog come over the top of him, pulled the gun out of his mouth, and laid on top of him, and that's the only reason why he's still here today. And those are the stories that are hard to tell, and they're hard to hear, but that's what guys need to hear.
That's the shit, like, when it hits, it fucking hits.
Right, like that.
That's the shit that saves people's lives, hearing that story.
Exactly. And I just think that more people need to realize that this shit's prevalent in our lives. It's not like it's a fleeting thing. a lot of vets go through this, and they just hold it in, and they never share their stories. And another reason why I do this is it's not just for me. It's not just about veterans. It's about their families as well. Mm-hmm. And I'm doing should I say this?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm doing a project for my mother-in-law. And I'll edit it out.
No balls, you won't.
I told you earlier that my wife's grandfather was a Vietnam vet.
Mm-hmm.
All they have for memories of him is their personal memories, and then all the pictures and all that stuff and all of his records. Well, one of my big projects for this podcast, I'm going to go through all of his records. I'm going to go through all of his pictures.
I know where you're going.
And I'm gonna create a story for them,
Mm-hmm.
so they know what he did and what he experienced and all that stuff. And I want to do that not just for my family, but for everybody, for every best family.
Imagine if you got some of the people he was in Vietnam with, like one or two,
dude,
just to do an interview.
I would love it.
Yeah.
I would love it.
Yeah, they're still out there
They
cussing
are.
about the younger generation.
Oh yeah,
somewhere.
oh yeah. But like our generation is a little different because we open up.
Yeah.
Maybe not everybody, but we open up. But how many vets out there have families that have no fucking idea what they've been through, what they've experienced, what they're going through now,
Right.
and how their time in service affected them because they won't open up. If guys like us can get some of these guys to open up and share their stories, maybe their family can finally get a glimpse into who he is.
I think a big part of that is, and it was me in the beginning, I think this way already. I don't want to put this shit in if you're my brother, you're my dad, I don't want to put that shit in your fucking mind now, so you have to. It's not a rational thought.
No.
It's not at all. But that is the main driving thought there. So then we are that bridge for that. I think that's amazing. We do that, and now, hey, the family, this is what's happening. But it's also the dudes who don't have a family. And when I say dudes, it's asexual. It's everybody in the military.
Right.
They don't have family to support them. They have a spouse or something. Get the fuck over it. It happened 15 years ago.
They may not have a spouse and they may not have kids, but they've got family.
Yes.
They've got family. Family is not always the people that you grew up with.
Family's not always blood.
That's another hurdle.
Yeah.
The isolation piece is, I think, especially if you're a single soldier, you do your contract and go home. You left the boys, the girls,
Your only
whatever it is.
community.
Yeah. For the past however many years.
It could have been one.
Yep.
It could have been 1 year.
Not only that, like they split up before you even left,
Mm-hmm.
but then now they're all gone. None of them came home with you.
And most of them probably have a Jody story too.
Got a couple
You
of those
know?
for you.
Yeah. And that fucks guys up.
Absolutely.
Like when I was in Iraq, my high school sweetheart was pregnant. Come to find out, it wasn't my kid. And
Damn.
I found out Christmas Day in Iraq. So, I mean, and there's thousands of those stories. It's not just mine. There's thousands of them. And it affects guys. Like for 10 years after I got out, I was solitary. I was in isolation. I drove a truck because I didn't want to be around no fucking body, you know. And now all I want to do is this.
I feel like the Jody aspect is a stigma in itself, because it doesn't allow us to actually talk about what the fuck happened, right? Like how my
Right.
ex-fiance, whatever it was, cheated while I'm getting blown up.
Right.
I find out a day later. You can't talk like that. Then, oh, dude, I got Jody. It
Right.
just diminishes the entire meaning of it.
You're right.
Yeah.
How many? Oh wow, I lost the freaking word. Fuck. Chance involved Jody when we're marching and shit like that. You know, running.
Okay.
Cadence.
Oh yeah,
Cadence. There we go. I lost the word.
It's being burned into our mind.
Yeah.
It's insane.
You know, because they say tear us down to build us up again, but they're building us up for combat or for whatever our country needs us to do, whether it's combat or whatever.
Accomplishing the mission.
Exactly. but then there's nothing after that. There's no training for after to come home.
Rehumanization.
Exactly.
I would like to jump in on that real quick. Something I realized and recognized from the outside looking in is the very thing that you are actually, the mission is to protect freedom at the end of the day consistently. And the freedom that you fought for is the very chaos that you're stepping back into when you leave the military, because you are free. You have to make your decisions. You have to be responsible. You have to have some type of discipline to be able to take care of yourself. And I really feel as if when you really open veterans' minds up to, hey, the very chaos you're in the middle of, the pain, the suffering, all of it, that's the freedom you literally fought for. And that's an opportunity for you to literally change your life and your community if you want. And I have so many other things I would like to talk about in terms of community connection, the importance of it and everything. But I just personally would love to hear like your thoughts on that line of thinking, like the freedom that you fought for is the chaos that you're living in now, and how you're trying to find yourself being more disciplined, and what could have leadership done better for you to help you prepare for that getting out. That's what we were literally just talking about coming over here. And I would love to hear your side on it as well.
That is a very good question. I think community is very important. It's something I lack here, honestly, because like I've said multiple times, I was gone. I've only been home. I've been home since October. Like on a full-time basis, I've been home since October. So I don't have community here outside of my wife and her family, and that's something that I kind of struggle with. All right, and it's kind of why I'm in the process of wanting this podcast to grow, not only online but also here. You know, connect with guys here, so I can build my own community, and then help. How to be the change you want to see, right?
Right.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Lead by example.
Exactly. Like I don't have community. I've got my wife, I got my kids, I got her family, and I got the guys that I work with. But outside of that, like I can't call somebody up and say, hey, you want to go to the bar and get a beer, or you want to go bowling, or I don't have that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's why?
Because you're new.
Well, I've been here since 2019. I've been in Helena since 2019, but I've been away
On the road.
on the road.
Yeah.
Have you like purposely avoided making friends here? Maybe not like consciously.
Yes.
Consciously, I don't think so, but probably, yeah.
You know, what's interesting about what you said when you brought up bowling, there's this book and this study that was done called Bowling Alone by this guy, Robert Putnam. And it's actually talking about what veterans are feeling in terms of the isolation. It's actually a problem for everyone. It's not just veterans, it's the entire society around us. So the breakdown, be the change that you want to see in the world is very important to the veteran, right? It's also very important for the veteran to recognize that you doing that, you might be able to invite civilians into the mix as well and educate them, teach them on the way how to be a community and things, because the biggest breakdown of America right now is we're not connecting in person. And that's such a huge opportunity for veterans to recognize that in their own communities. Your mission can go beyond service. Your mission never stops. Your mission to reinvigorate essentially the American spirit can continue. You can use your pain and your suffering as a pathway to do that. You are more than capable, right? Your story is inspiring. Every single veteran's story is very inspiring.
It's not just about the stories too; it's about the experiences. Because even if you're a PFC, PV2, you've got leadership skills. Even as a PV2 or PFC, you've got leadership skills that you can bring to the civilian sector. You may not have it like an NCO has it, but you've got them. They're instilled in you in some way. You just got to find out how to bring it out. You got to find, like you said, your mission. You have to find a new mission, because when you were in, you knew what you were going to do. You were
told.
Now you were told. Now it's up to you as an individual to chase something that you're passionate about, and that's hard for a lot of guys, including me. And you brought up you kind of jogged some stuff in my head about, well, no, it was you, I'm sorry, about purposely avoiding making friends here. I don't think I've done it consciously, but now that I kind of think about it a little bit, I don't go do shit.
Right.
I stay at home, I hang out with my wife and kids.
Isolate.
And I don't,
Yeah.
isolation,
Yeah.
right. I don't,
Because it's comfortable.
exactly.
Safe.
Exactly.
Feels good.
I sit in the house and I watch TV with my wife. I play with my kids. and then I go downstairs and I do this. I do the podcast. As far as getting out, no, that doesn't happen. So yeah,
Now, you said you just joined the VFW, right?
yeah.
So do you think that's going to like change? Because I feel like you're going to be around other dudes who isolate, but
My intentions is to come up here more often. In my head, that's what I tell myself. As far as reality, making that happen is going to be a battle.
yeah.
And this is going to be, it's 100% an excuse, but I'm going to say it anyway.
It's fun.
So between my job and my school time, I don't have a lot of free time. There's the excuse because we all have free time. It's just fun. It's just
How much energy do I want to put into that free time?
exactly.
Right. How uncomfortable do I want to be?
Right.
Yeah.
What's the level of pain, uncomfortable that I can deal with everything else going on also?
You go to school in person?
No, online. Of course it's online, man. Isolation.
You think I'm going to be in a classroom with people? 18-year-olds?
You think I'm going to go to college? Yeah, no. I tried that a long time ago when I first got out.
Yeah.
No.
See, I waited a little bit, and then I got better, right?
Right.
And I went, and I had a very good they're 18.
Right.
We dealt with stupid little 18-year-olds in the Army.
Right.
It's their first chance to verbalize any of their thoughts. Mm-hmm. So I got to all right, you can be as weird as you want. I'm not going to judge you for it. Hopefully in a couple years, those thoughts iron out.
My problem with that wasn't them making their comments and just being kids.
Right.
That wasn't my thing. My thing was we're in school to learn a thing. When the instructor is talking, when we're doing our projects, that's what we're.
Yes.
I'm focused on this.
That sidebar
I don't
conversation
care about
shit.
your sidebar shit. I don't care.
Yeah.
And even right now in my online classes, I've got to thank God it's on Zoom.
Yeah. Mute. Turn the camera off. You motherfucker.
Because now I don't have to worry about you. So I don't like bullshit. None of us like the bullshit. We're here for a purpose. We're here for a reason.
Authentic.
Let's make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
All your sidebar stuff we can save for later. We can have fun with that later. But for now, this is the mission. But younger, I don't want to say civilians, but just younger people in general.
Yeah. Yep.
Just they don't have the experiences in life, and they don't understand that. They're just now getting out into the world.
I never understood when people our parents' age or our parents said that shit. I never understood. I understand now. Right? Dude, you don't know so much. It's very obvious.
Yep. Oh man. Wow. How much did my parents tell me that I was like, oh, whatever.
Yeah, I know everything right now. What are you talking about?
I haven't learned anything. My parents are still dumb.
That's
a lot.
Hopefully they don't hear this.
It's like, this guy hates his parents.
And Cav Scouts. What the fuck? I'm going to take something back, okay? I don't hate all Cav Scouts. Charlie troops are okay.
He didn't take his parents back. He took the Cav Scouts back.
The ones I knew I don't like you.
Charlie troops are okay.
Oh man. Oh, so, and you were Tucker was talking earlier about how people don't really understand some of the things that we talk about. I think it was you anyway, Tucker. Me and my wife was watching SVU, Law and Order SVU last night, and we've actually been watching it for about 3 weeks now. My wife loves it. But anyway, there was an episode last night or whenever it was. It had one of the guys on there that was psychotic, right? And he doesn't have he's not empathetic, and he doesn't feel love or anything like that.
Sympathy, nothing.
Right. And my wife had made a comment about I don't understand people like that. I'm like, well, I do. She's like, well, you're not like that. I'm like, you don't see me like that. You don't. I make it a point to show empathy for you and the kids, but it is extremely, extremely hard. I fight with it. I think that's one of my biggest things for myself is being empathetic towards my wife and towards my children, and having that connection. I've always called it like I have that disconnection from my wife and my kids. Like, yes, that's my wife, that's my kids, I love them, but at the same time, I can just go off and just not even think about it, like being a shit dad. My daughter's, I can't even remember which one it was, his first or second birthday, wasn't there. They're like, it's a fucking day. I don't give a shit. My son, Nona Georgia, he's 10. I wasn't there but probably 3 months of his life up until about 2 years ago. It was that disconnect. And that's one of the things I've been fighting with over the past, I'd say 2 or 3 years, is trying to bridge that disconnect and trying to be more present in their lives and show them the love and empathy. And when my wife was like, you couldn't just hurt somebody and not think about it. I'm like, well, yeah, I could. I totally could. And she doesn't believe that. She does not for 1 second believe that. And that kind of shows that I'm actually making changes, because now my wife doesn't see
what you think you are,
right,
or what you were.
Right. She doesn't see that. So now it's like, okay, I'm actually doing some good here. Things are actually starting to click. I'm actually starting to make improvements.
But you still do battle with it internally, knowing that you are still having a part of you that is like that. And the confusion of it all is like, am I that? And it's like still battling yourself like, well, I'm telling myself I'm not. I'm clearly making change, but deep down inside, it's still there. Yeah. And it's like, I still struggle with that. I resonate with that a lot, man. Having that lack of empathy and sympathy and having to battle yourself and be like, you know, I do have these children. I'm supposed to be smiling more often. I'm supposed to be showing more, you know, love outside of, you know, not just like it's your birthday, so I should be showing you love, but on the everyday basis, like, you know what I mean? Like reading the books at night, you could just show them you care and stuff like that. Like I completely understand that. It doesn't come easy. It doesn't. And you honestly, once you go through whatever it is that you go through that turns you in or makes you into this way, whatever traumas, you know,
it turns all that emotion off.
It turns it off, man.
You know,
it turns it off.
It's hard to turn back on.
I mean, and also, how long were you not dealing with any of your stuff? You know what I mean? Like that plays a massive part into it.
Up until 19.
The majority of the time that you didn't have.
Almost the entire time I was out.
The disconnect, right?
Yeah. Like it's really affected my relationship with my 10-year-old.
It's not the same.
A lot of that is because me and his mom, but at the same time, I made a lot of choices that I made that did not help the situation. So, and now trying to correct that, it is a battle.
Yeah.
It's a battle.
But doesn't that show you that you have some control? Like if you can sit there and you have to fight it, it's not a natural thought that comes for that. You have to fight and make it happen, but you're controlling those emotions.
Yeah, you just have more control over it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's realizing that you do have control over some of the things you say and do, but not some. Everything's a choice. I've actually had arguments with my wife about everything being a choice, but that's.
All right, let's stay safe here.
She's gonna watch this.
Actually, she probably won't. She supports it, but she doesn't really. I have to get onto her. Would you share it, please?
Yeah.
Right. So, anyway, but yeah, everything you say and do in life is a choice, whether you think of it in a time or not, and that's where I put myself in, or I try to put myself in. When I'm making decisions on the day-to-day, it's like, is this something that I really want to portray myself as? Is this who I want to be? Or am I going back to my shit dad, my shit husband? Am I going back there, or am I going over here to the improvement? So it's the good side of me. And it's every choice I make, I kind of think of it in that way, or try to think about it in that way. And it's difficult, but it does help when you realize you do have a choice.
You know what I just found out that it didn't really click. Or I just never thought about it before. You can relapse from your PTSD, right? Like you can do a bunch of years of therapy and another trauma happen, and you be for a small time period right back where you were.
Right.
It's I don't know why it never registered. I didn't think relapsing in PTSD. I didn't think of it as something that could be relapsed.
Well, I can tell you this, and my wife will tell you immediately if I took my meds or not. she can tell you immediately. I know it's kind of just different.
No, it's not. I hear what you're saying with it.
But it's funny because I'll get up. I get up at like 4:00, so I'll be up, and if I haven't taken my meds by noon, and I'm at home and not at work, she's like, "Hey, did you take your meds?"
And how do you respond with that?
No, but I'm gonna go.
But it's not like a aggravated or
sometimes. It depends.
The mood you're in.
If you took them.
Yeah.
What the fuck you mean?
But well, for me, one thing I've realized is I don't like. So I'm not I love her family, but when we all get together at the same time, like Christmas and Thanksgiving, I've noticed this last Christmas that I have a tendency to say or do something to where it pisses everybody off, and I can just leave. And I realized that this Christmas, and it's happened every year, but this is when I actually realized it. And I always do.
Is it going to happen next year?
No, that's the plan is no.
Right.
The plan is no. But well, no, we're not going to see because it isn't going to happen.
Right.
But
There you go. That's the right mentality.
yeah, but yeah, every year since me and my wife have been together, for Christmas, I've always done.
Is it because you're getting like overstimulated and you don't want to be there that long?
I think it's overstimulation. Yeah, I think it's that, and I think it's just leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
Just
The lack of control of the environment.
Yes.
that's a good one. That's yeah.
The bane of my existence.
It's like I love you guys, but get the fuck out.
Right.
My family's so chaotic that it's absolutely a lack of control.
Yes.
Right.
There's zero boundaries. You loud nonstop. Shut the fuck up for 4 seconds.
And then you got all the kids, and I just want to think.
Right.
just let me think. Anyway, so I've done way more talking than I planned on doing for this. It's supposed to be like you guys, not me, man. So.
That's funny because that's what we do.
That's kind of your entire mission, right? Just get guys to chat.
This was kind of like we just had proof of the mission, right?
Right. Oh man.
The goal is to let everybody help you carry it. That is the goal, man.
Absolutely.
So one of the things that's pretty cool about what we do, and it's something that Dan actually read and he passed off to me, the information. This is another inspirational piece really for where Refit really came from. And we added into the methodology of our approach, and it backs up the idea of community and the importance of opening up to your loved ones, your family members, your friends, people, and talking to them about things when they want to know. Is like Native American tribes and what they used to do with their Sundance, where they would invite back warriors, or not invite, but when warriors came back from either war or hunting, it's very difficult. Even the hunt was very difficult because they're out in the wilderness and they're away from, the teepees and the comfort and things like that. And they're, guys potentially dying and, it's just brutal. So they would actually come back. They would all get around the fire. The women, the children, the old men would be on the outside of the fire. And then the warriors and the hunters, the young men would be in the inner circle. And the people in the outer circle, again, the women, the children, and the older men would commit self-harm, right? They would actually physically feel the pain that they went through for a healing process and healing night. So one of the things that we do around the fire is we tell everybody, listen, we're here to feel the pain with you. Get deep, get real. This is your opportunity. And I think that kind of motivation and that kind of message that we send to guys is something that really inspires them to really want to heal, especially the guys that want to heal. They don't want to drink anymore. They don't want to gamble anymore. They don't want to have sex addictions. They don't want to have all the things that are associated with PTSD anymore. And they want to get away from it. And those are the things that I really think is like the inspirational piece for getting guys around that fire. They recognize it, they feel it, they want to be better dads, they want to be better husbands, they want to be better wives, they want to be better mothers, they want to be better citizens to the entire society around us. And that's something that we do look for and we do try to drive out of people. And we've seen major success, and it came from the inspiration even of like Native American tribes that got together. And that's something that human beings need in general, right? Like we do need that. We do need the connection. We do need to be together. And it just goes right back to that piece. And just you sharing your story right now is mission, right? That is what we're trying to do. So you didn't over talk. You're doing what you have to do. That's part of your mission too.
Right.
You want to share with people.
No.
In that same book, I'm not a big reader. Same book, it was a book about post-traumatic growth instead of PTSD, right? So it was Odin, Norse god, gave his eye, he sacrificed his eye for infinite knowledge. PTSD is our eye. It's the sacrifice we've given. We can think a way that people who have not experienced trauma can never think.
I love that. I love Norse mythology.
Dr. Edward Tick, Warrior Soul, Returning the Soul from War. Is that
Okay. I'll check that
He only
out.
has like 2 or 3 books, so Dr. Ed Tick, and you'll find it.
I love Norse mythology, and I never thought about that, but that is
That's the first paragraph in the book. That's what hooked me immediately. I was like, that's amazing.
That's
Do
amazing.
you like Norse mythology?
Oh, yeah.
And mythology in general?
More so on Norse mythology, because I like all the vets, right? I went through this whole Viking thing, and and I'm not trying to make fun of guys that are Norse pagan. I'm not making fun of that.
But it's a fad sometimes.
Yeah, it can be a fad
For some people.
right? And then the show Vikings really, anyways.
Good show,
But
good show.
what's that?
Good show.
Oh, good show, yes, but it just they dramatize them.
Yes.
Like the Rosetta and what's in the Viking. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's
It was a TV.
Something
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
something that's really cool about mythology, the Bible, stories and teachings. All of those things are actually pathways and little crumbs that came from people before us, the forefathers, if you will, that our ancestors for every society laid the groundwork through stories to show you how to get home. Another really good book that actually talks about Greek mythology, the Odyssey. I don't know if you ever heard of that before. That whole thing is a pure metaphor for the journey home of a soldier. So the argument is that Odysseus was home the entire time, and the Cyclops, the sirens, the fighting, the drug use, the sex addictions, all of it was a part of his journey home for 10 years, and he was there the entire time with his wife and kids.
You know what? But I just made a connection with the Odyssey that I haven't made before this conversation about him coming back with the sex addiction and all that stuff. That's all that we go through now.
Instant gratification.
Right.
Yeah.
It's human behavior has not changed for millions of years, arguably.
Well, I was talking more or less how the Odyssey is a story of his return home, right? And going through all the shit that he went through. I don't know why I never connected until just this conversation, but how that's exactly what we're doing. We're all coming back home and we're all going through all this bullshit, just like Homer. And how did I never make that connection?
Some people stay stuck in it. They stay stuck in the alcoholism. They stay stuck in their drug addictions. They stay stuck in everything, right? And that is something that's
we're pre-recorded.
very, very difficult for
organization.
a lot of veterans to get through. Very difficult.
Yeah, and that's I think mythology. There's a lot of lessons to be taken from mythology. I don't want to misspeak because I know if I do, somebody's gonna fucking just cream me in the comments. But I'm trying to think of what Odin's, because Odin's got a passage that was written that has all of his commandments or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I can't think of what it's called because you got the Rosetta and then you got the I'm gonna screw this entire part up.
Just go ahead, man.
So all of what Odin talks about is all of how to live life, essentially. And he talks about bringing people into your home and all that stuff, and being ready, there you go. Where's the one I'm looking for? He was right on top of it.
It's the only reason I touched my phone.
Helpfulness. Support those in need, but don't trust strangers. But in the actual document, though, he talks about being trustworthy and stuff like that, but having that barrier until you actually can trust these people or not. And there's stuff in that, but I don't think people. I think people take it at face value for what's written and said, and just say, well, if I don't know you, I'm not going to trust you. I don't think that's what Odin meant. I think it's more of like,
rapport.
yes, keep right, build rapport with somebody. Keep your walls up, yes, but be open to what's going on, and be open to conversation, and be open to whatever's going on around you. And like myself, I isolate. We talk about that all the time. Being open to having conversations with you guys. Like, I was so nervous about this fucking conversation, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I was super excited, but super nervous about it because it was being the first in-person interview I've done. And when I woke up this morning, I'm like, fuck, I'm really doing this. And then you sent me a message like we're 2 hours out. I'm like, fuck, I'm really doing this.
Was it more so like fear of the unknown? You just didn't know how it was going to pan out?
Yeah, I think it was more like, it's like, I'm a small time dude. I've only got like 12 episodes. These
Stop
guys
saying that. Stop saying that.
It's true.
But it doesn't need to be.
The way you're talking about it, this is actually what's important to note, and it's for every single person that diminishes themselves without even knowing they're diminishing themselves. What you're saying is, I'm small time, I'm little, no, dude, you're just doing a podcast. You're doing a podcast, and that's what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't fuck.
I did the wink.
Right? Yeah, but
6 inches is really.
but it genuinely matters how you communicate to yourself inside your own mind.
The proof is your first episode. It's not like you had 400 episodes and a million people
fact that
following.
you're fucking
You had
doing
one
it.
episode of you just speaking, and somebody reached out to you and said, "This fucking got. What do I need to do to get help now?"
Right. True.
There's people who have
And, like,
24 episodes, and that has not happened to them.
That's true. Yeah. Very true. And what you're talking about right now is about the self-diminishing and I call it self-destruction, right?
Self-deprecation.
Self-destruction is what I call it. I know that the way you speak about yourself and the way you internalize thoughts and feelings and stuff like that absolutely manifest in reality. And I know that, but I struggle with the, like what I just said. I'm a small time guy. You guys have been doing it for a while. You got a better understanding of how this works. Whereas me, I ain't got a fucking clue, right?
Size only matters to game wardens.
I struggle with that too, right? Like it's hard to think about that stuff when you haven't done it before.
Right.
It's so alien.
You listened to the Greg Anderson podcast that we were on, right?
Yeah.
And where I talked about, words, and I talked about the importance of getting through them and understanding that they are, go back to the metaphors we're talking about thousands of years, right? There were witches, there were people who cast spells, whatever the fuck. That's literally words. And words 100% affect who you are. And if you allow them to sneak in the negative, the bullshit, it's going to conquer your entire life.
Right.
And you can't allow that. You can't believe your diagnosis. You can't believe all the things that people are saying about it, because you're just going to consistently believe that you are nothing. You're smaller than what you actually are.
And the hard part is flipping that mindset.
100%. It's very difficult.
That's the hard part, is because I don't know if you listen to the Order of Man podcast with Mike Mickler or not. Is it Mike? No, Ryan Mickler. I've been listening to this podcast for years. I've been listening to Jocko's podcast for years. Jocko Willnick.
Jocko.
Jocko and
Good podcast, by the way.
Yeah, anyway.
I know what you're talking about. Great podcast.
yeah, great. I love his podcast. And I have aspirations of hopefully one day talking to guys like Jocko, like Ryan, and even Greg Anderson. Talking with these guys. But I have this internal, they're not going to fucking talk to me. Just like how I was shocked that you guys would be willing to have a conversation. Right?
Who cares? You know what I mean? Like, that's the thing. Like, that could become almost like
Without even knowing each other.
you need to just do it for you. You know what I mean? Like, that's at the end of the day the most important thing. You're not doing this for any accolades or anything like that. You're doing it for you, and you know the mission that you're on, right? The other things will come if you stay with that mindset, because that'll burn you out. Because if you're not getting the things that you think you want, that'll burn you out faster than anything else.
Oh, I've already kind of seen some of that too, because I don't get the engagement that I would like to have, like on Facebook, TikTok, even though I hate TikTok. But anyway, don't get the engagement I like to have to grow this to where I can get the
reach that you want.
The reach to where I can get guys that are more willing to participate. But then I took a risk with you guys. I just come across your Facebook page, didn't know anything, right? You come across my Facebook feed, and I was like, hey, I like what I see. So I emailed you. And then I just took the chance. You emailed me back, and you were like, yeah, we're going to be there in January. I'm like, well, shit, let's do it then. So I'm starting to see that reaching out and just doing things
Yes.
may actually come to fruition. Yes. And if somebody says no, who cares, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
But until you start reaching out and putting yourself in those positions, it's hard to understand that, hey, this may actually happen. Who cares if I'm small? It may actually happen.
That's right.
Like I guarantee we're gonna have multiple veterans that we can refer to you. You want to go on this dude's podcast? Boom. We got tons of dudes who have great stories to tell that have come from all the trauma they've had.
Send them my way. I'd love to talk to them.
I got a couple of things.
Seen a veteran who just walked up right now.
Yeah. I got a couple of things from what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
One, your engagement, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what numbers you're looking for? Because good numbers are shit numbers, by the way. In your head, you're like,
right.
Man, these numbers suck.
Right now, I would just love 1,000 followers.
So
right
Say it
now,
again?
right now, I'd like just 1,000 followers, then I'd like to grow from that, obviously too. But
we were just on Stay Zero, and I was talking to their social media manager about our margins. I was like, man, I'm doing everything I can. We started using hashtags. I'm trying to figure out what to do.
social media sucks.
And he was like,
It's hard.
He asked me what our margins were like, and so I showed him. And he was instantly like, our margins aren't much different. And we're a major apparel company. We had 14,000 views on our last podcast. So
Right.
like,
You know, see if you like, man.
they're not. So the margins you're looking for is more of a batting average.
Can't keep it, but I don't want you to look at it.
Is more of a batting average than
So 101st.
a win-loss record.
See, I was sorry. I was reading 91 Bravo in 3rd Infantry Division. So 101st.
Don't see what you're saying.
There you go, man.
Nice.
You ever seen Band of Brothers?
I sure have.
I got to meet a lot of those. gentlemen.
Did you really?
Oh, really?
So real quick, for him coming on, they want to have him in.
Oh yeah, we had another.
What is this?
There you go.
It's a microphone.
Microphone.
Yeah, he's clipping on you.
Yeah, man.
down, man.
No push to talk.
You said
No,
that.
just
set it up, man.
talk.
you're here with us.
Also, you're saying like
Put this one.
earlier, we were talking about safety. Everybody's guaranteed safety while they're in. They get out, there's no safety.
Thank you.
Well, when you joined, did you know you were going to pass basic? Nobody really knew. Everybody goes there with that little bit of doubt in the back of their head, like, I don't know, maybe not.
Right.
So, what changes about that from the couple of years that you leave? Like, I'm about to get out, and I'm not job hunting because this is the job.
Oh man,
This is the job I chose. My VA is as much of a safety net as I'm going to get. And I'm just fucking putting it all on red and I'm sending it.
that's a great question because when you go in, you don't know if you're going to fail. You have that option of failure.
Yeah.
And then when we get out and we start doing other things, why are we now scared to go after stuff? Because
The only option's failure.
yeah,
we have a family.
In our mind,
Well
the
played.
only option's
No.
failure.
right.
Well said.
We have
well
a
said.
family. We have other people relying on us. We have all kinds of reasons to say like we got to play it safe. And we either end up doing something that we don't really love, or we still have aspirations that we want to go do.
Almost like driving across town.
Yeah.
Like, hey, do I want to do this today?
Yeah.
Do I
And
have enough energy to do that?
Can I?
you end up isolated.
We can make it happen.
Yeah.
It's all in the capacity of how we're going to make that happen. And for a lot of us, I'm sure all warfighters, dang, it's going to be a different pace once we meet that threshold of, all right, now I'm through the fatal funnel. I made it out of my house today. What am I going to do next?
Oh, I like that. I like that.
A
So,
lot of action.
so kind of let you know what we're doing. These guys are Project Refit. They're out of New Jersey. They're doing great things all across the country. They're actually doing a retreat down
Snowcrest Ranch.
Ranch down by Big Sky, and they're just here having a chat
Alder.
with me on my podcast. My name is Mike. I'm the host of It's a Veteran's Life, and
My name's Matt. Mike.
yeah, nice to meet you, man.
Pleasure's
Yeah, I'm
mine.
right here in Helena, brother. Right here in town.
Born and raised here.
Oh, nice. But
There's a lot of unique people in Montana, by
You
the
got
way.
out
yeah.
in 12, right?
Got out in
Yeah.
2012. Yep.
No, same
give
here.
us a little rundown real quick on your name. Like,
So my name's Matt. I dropped out of high school after 9/11 and joined the military. Went to war. I was 17. I turned 18 on the airplane over, and I just did unique shit. I was a forward observer. You know what that means?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I was, the king of battle, and I loved it, man. Every
So-
second of it.
So we're talking like 03, 04 time frame as far as being overseas?
04.
04. Okay, so you were there right after Surge. Because Surge was 03, if I remember right. So yeah, you were there pretty
That
much
was-
right in the middle of shit.
Unfortunately, I couldn't forge the documents enough.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't like World War II. You can be like,
right.
You're 8 years old. I'm 20.
So like Baghdad, or
Yep, right there.
Okay.
right under the Karata Peninsula, right there in the middle of it.
Okay.
Yep.
I was
units?
south of Baghdad.
Okay.
Yeah, I was around the Tigris River in Al-Qut.
So you seen all of the bodies flowing?
Nah,
Down the river?
I was there at 9, so all
You
that
missed-
stuff was
you
already.
missed the fun.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess it depends on your definition of fun.
Yeah.
What
When
unit?
they started coming out with those EFPs, and you're like,
Oh, yeah.
Yikes.
Wow.
Yeah, we
Just melt through your door. You're like, oh, there
that's
goes
when they
a
started
limb.
putting copper in them. Yeah.
I was gonna say it's a whole lot of hot copper coming at you.
Yes, sir. It cuts right through that. It cuts right through it. We had a couple of suicide. Well, not suicide. Well, V-bids.
Yeah.
Had a couple of V-bids right outside the perimeter of the fob, and yeah, those fob was huge. You could be on one over by the airfield, and it happened right there at the entry gate, but you'd feel it over by the airfield. I mean, they didn't play.
My squad leader, the deployment before ours in Afghanistan, they went like the year before it. They were in Jalalabad,
Okay.
I think. Yeah. A 2,000-pound D-bid rolled
good
in
Lord.
2 days after he left. Took half the
Son
fucking
of
base
a
away.
bitch.
Insane.
So we all know what an Abrams is.
Oh yeah.
I've seen one flipped on its lid. Listening to the driver going, I don't think I'm getting out of here. And it was the most heart-wrecking experience. It's like, yeah, dude, I'm sorry. I can't, I'm not Superman.
Yeah.
I cannot flip this Abrams over. Main gun sitting right over the top of him. He cannot get out of the vehicle.
You just can't get to them.
And it's like, damn, dude. And we just had to listen to it.
Like the
What do
Arizona.
you think about that?
Every day.
Just
But it builds me, and I build my children that way. I build everything around me on that structure of don't give up. But sometimes you're going to meet something that's going to give you a lot of
yeah. But so one thing I've realized a lot of guys do is they blame themselves for not being able to help others in situations.
survivor's guilt.
Exactly. Did you or do you blame yourself for that, for not being able to get to that guy, or have you found a way to?
There's nothing I could do at that time. So
So
no,
you
I
realize
don't.
it's not your fault, and you've found a way to.
Nothing I could do.
Okay. Yeah. A lot of guys struggle with that, and I think it's important for them to know that in those kind of situations, it's not your fault.
What are you dipping?
Black Buffalo?
I'll take one.
It's
Does that come from New Jersey?
Yeah, you might not want to take it. It's polluted.
He's got a Bruins hoodie on. He's fine.
Yeah, I'm a Capitals guy. And he's wearing a Bruins shirt. So.
On that note, though, I do want to see Ovi get the record.
He'll get it, man.
In
He'll
our
get it.
lifetime, that's me. I like to see things, records broken,
Yes.
new things, and even if I'm not rooting for the team, I want to
Eagles,
see it in
like,
my
the Eagles,
lifetime.
They won the Super Bowl, and I was like, that's
I just gotta say
sick.
one. I'll ask you one thing though, since you're obviously a Bruins fan. What
Okay.
the hell is up
You
with
want some
Marchand?
Black Buffalo?
Oh, he's a punk.
What the hell is up with
Yeah, he's a
Marchand
punk.
going around licking guys, man?
Well, he's from New Jersey.
Is that a Jersey thing then, guys?
What-
It's like-
what
so Marchand's what is he, a wing? A left wing, right wing? Anyway, he plays hockey for the Bruins. And a couple of years ago, I think it was like 3 years ago, he would go around on the ice and would just make a play and just go up to the opposing team and just one of their players and just lick them right on the side of their face.
Yeah, no, that's not
And,
a Jersey thing. That's a him thing for
Yeah,
sure.
that's a
He actually
him.
he got in trouble by the NFL.
Keep your secrets over there in New Jersey, please.
Little Frodo meme there.
He actually got in trouble by the NHL for it, and I don't think he's done it since. But yeah, for a while.
They fined him like 15 grand. He's like, oh, bummer. I didn't know my life was going to suck so bad.
Right?
I could
much
just
money as
pay
he
a
makes.
$15,000
But
fine for licking somebody.
At least it's not a
Usually
penguin
it's
shirt.
much cheaper to get to let somebody let you.
Whoa, I don't know where you
Well, I
hang
mean,
out. There is a dollar store about 2 hours away from here. And you don't touch the dancer, but you could probably lick her later.
Oh, hell, they can just go down here to Three Forks.
The
They
dollar
let you
store.
touch the painting.
Oh, okay. So you were talking about that. Okay.
They let you touch the paintings.
Well,
I like those museums.
Are you hooked up with
My
the
problem is you just run into everybody you went to school with.
nah.
You're like, oh shit, I remember you.
Oh, shit, I saw you when you were
darn it.
18.
Yep, I already seen that one. Next,
Oh,
You like
man.
take a flight to
I
see
am,
somebody
yes.
you've never
Thanks
met.
for asking.
Hunter?
Yeah.
Good
Yeah,
stuff.
that's kind of. So my entire mission is just sharing stories, and these guys have a wonderful thing they do on their retreats, and even not even in the retreat, they got a couple of trailers they take you around that are set up with the side of it pops out and they got a fire
It's got
pit.
a stage door.
Yeah,
it's
it's-
got
Boom, like a food
benches.
Kind of,
Food
yeah.
truck, but it's like a lounge.
Mobile lounge.
Yeah,
That's
it's a
TV,
lounge.
Xbox, Wi-Fi. So like if you got kids, and
So
you wanna
like
talk
the
to us-
USO.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like a
Yeah,
mobile-
We'll pull up to your
Way
house.
cooler though.
Throw your kids on the
Way
Xbox.
cooler though, my man over
Hell
here.
yeah, hell yeah.
Tell him
We
about
got
the
him
story that you guys did with the Marine Corps vet. We went and put him out of the house, and you sat there for a couple hours in the trailer. Was it
That's
you,
right.
Jess?
It was me. Yeah. Yeah. I drove out. Me and another Marine I brought with me to go talk to him. So he was going through some stuff. The whole story that I didn't share, and I'll share it here. It was a lawyer that was working with this guy, and he called me up, and he was like, "Hey, man, this guy's really struggling. Like he's got a lot of stuff going on. I can't help him with his case and all this other stuff." And he's like, "But I'm not calling you because of that. I'm calling because this guy just needs help." He was a civilian lawyer. Like he just wanted to help the guy, right? He did not have to do anything. He did not have to call me. He did not have to do
That's good
any of it,
outreach.
right? But he's also a guy that I told the whole mission to of like, we civilians have to step the fuck up too. And he really resonated with that. And he called me. So I hit up this Marine and I was like, "Yo, man, we're going to take the fucking trailer directly to this guy's house, pull it into his fucking driveway, drop and bring him into the lounge, get him out of his home and just talk to us." He's like, "Done. I'm down." So we drove directly to the dude's house, did the whole thing, talked to him for like 5 fucking hours, right? So the whole concept and the reason why we do that and the reason why we show up like that is because, and I have to talk about Chris Carr real quick. He's one of the original co-founders of Project Refit. What he did for this guy, Rocco, who's now a leader actually inside of Refit, he drove to his house after getting a call from his wife. Took him 20 minutes when it was like a 45-minute drive. And he literally went into the door, opened this shit up, like basically breaking and entering, drugged the dude outside, disarmed him, drug him outside, threw him into his car and talked to him for hours until like 3 a.m. and brought him back when he sobered up and everything like that and saved his life. And that guy Rocco's still with us today. He's actually one of the co-hosts of the FML and everything that we do. So usually it means fuck my life, but in this case it means for my life. I love taking words and because it really tells me who you are. The words you use tell me who you are. That's why I was talking about the spell thing earlier, like the mythology of that and everything. How you speak to yourself is everything. So like that is the words you put in your brain, the words you give to the world is genuinely who you are. So we took Chris Carr's whole we show up methodology to the next level. And I was like, well, I got to fucking do shit like that too. So that's why we also do house calls. It's not all the time, but we will show up if needed. And we'll talk to that guy.
With the old vet.
That's right. There was a gentleman who was isolated for a while. His wife hit us up and I think she saw us on ABC actually.
Yeah, yep.
And she's like, "Hey, do you guys like come out and see guys?" Like, "Yeah, absolutely." And we went out and saw this gentleman and he's got multiple sclerosis and everything. We watched football with him and hung out with him and just literally gave the guy some company. We're going to go back out again. He's really
He's in like a motorized chair. So
Dude, he was a really nice guy.
Like he doesn't have a social support or anything.
His
So
wife was
us
super
coming
nice.
out for a couple, like James stayed later and watched the rest of the Eagles game. Like just, it's not clinical, right? Like, we're treating you like I've known you for 30 years.
It's a fucking community.
You're my
We're
homie.
America. We're supposed to be doing that for each other. It's supposed to be us looking out for each other.
That's a brotherhood.
It's a brotherhood, right?
Exactly.
It's
Band
not
of
just the
brothers. I
military.
don't care what branch you are, but
Yeah.
and like you said, not even military, but just I think us being military
Yes.
really gives us a different aspect and approach.
An understanding of community. And that's actually the thing that we were just talking about earlier. You understanding that actually sets an onus or like a mission on you that you can use out in the world to inspire other fucking people.
And they
Your
don't have
story
to
is a
be
unique
military.
I'll repeat the quote. Norse mythology.
Send it.
Odin. He gave his left eye for infinite wisdom.
Yeah.
PTSD is our sacrificial eye. With PTSD, PTSD growth, right? We can think differently than people who have not necessarily combat PTSD in general. If somebody hasn't experienced trauma, I don't believe that they could get through as much as we can because of how much we've already gotten through, right?
We made it.
Yep.
You know, and us having those experiences are hands down so valuable
They
to
are.
everybody.
They are.
And see,
That's
like,
right.
What I hate What I hate about when I run into some vets is the like fuck civilian shit. Oh, they don't fucking understand us. We don't understand us.
Yeah.
We don't have the understanding. How can I hold
That's
you
the
accountable
reality.
for you
Yeah.
not understanding? I haven't gotten it yet.
Yes. It's the whole entire community coming together to recognize that there is a value in your story. There's a value to the pain. There's a value to the suffering. And you can actually bring that back. If we truly are a nation that's supposed to be individuals and we're a nation that's supposed to be taking care of ourselves and with each other, then we have to fucking prove it and do that. And that means putting yourself out there. That means like having something that you lead in the community, right? To get up and have that mission like you were just talking about. Every day there's something you can do better. Right. And
not only for me, but for everybody.
Anybody I come in contact with.
By you, here's the argument.
Open a door for somebody.
That's right. But check this out, dude. If you okay, so people talk about like, oh, I got to be selfish. I fucking hate that. You never have to be selfish. Me going to the gym or me working out or me, reading a book and trying to do all that stuff. No, I don't. So, any time that you are taking care of yourself, genuinely, anytime you take care of yourself, you are actually doing it as a selfless act, because then you can be better for the people that you're going to be talking to, the people you're going to be, helping potentially with your story, because you are that model. If you can be that model, you can show others how to be that model as well.
And we're a model of selfless acts.
Literally the most selfless. That is exactly right. Most people have to really, I think people in general have to recognize that it's never selfish. Don't invite that negative fucking word.
Not only do people need to recognize it, but us as veterans need to remember.
I love, yeah. You're absolutely right, dude. You're absolutely right. You have to remember that shit.
Yeah.
So you were in for 8 years. Yeah.
10.
10?
Yeah.
So you did at least.
Yep.
Why?
Why?
Yeah. What made you love it so much you re-enlisted? Because I know sure as fuck it wasn't the rucksacks and the.
Yeah, it was a lot of communication and a lot of humping, a lot of walking.
What made you sign the dotted line again?
To make a few.
Yeah.
Granted, I'm 17 years old. I wanted to make it for my kids that didn't even exist yet. I want to protect the people of my country. That happened in New York. We're in Montana right now. So the connection would really not, but
it does.
It makes sense.
I was
Totally
like,
makes
this is my
sense.
country. Well, my military, my old man was in there. He actually was already in Iraq. Had to sign the paperwork. It just took like 3 weeks for it to fucking come back, and I was like, damn. Hurry up, Dad. And then I get over to Iraq and I was like, oh shit, now it makes sense. Yeah. It's not quick. This is dial-up was
They're not just
like,
facts and shit.
like getting on the internet and get all those
AOL
weird noises.
shit.
Yeah. What was your first unit?
Easy Company, second 506.
There you go. I'm first.
Yep.
10 years?
No, I only did years there, and then I only went to BO, as they call it now.
Dude,
Hey,
that's
you'll be
crazy.
happy
I
to
had the
know.
same exact route as you did. Then I started off at the 101st. I went to Lewis for my second duty station as well. We did the same exact path.
You'll be happy to know that the second ID patch, the old Indian head, no longer has a place in the United States Army.
And see, and I think that there's a lot of politics in that.
There is. Recently,
Fort Bragg is now Liberty.
yeah. Well, so
The Redskins are the commanders now.
the Indian head
Come on,
patch has a,
it's a tradition
whole
in their
story
country.
behind it.
Well, they changed Fort Benning also.
Were you in JBLN during the Kill Squad era?
Yep.
There you go. That
You want to get on about that?
let's do it.
I mean, is it?
Oh yeah, it's open.
Oh, it's
Okay.
open
Open forum, brother.
All right.
But if you don't mind,
The Kill Squad. So that was your unit. You're 117 or 217?
117.
117. Okay. So what was Ramrod? I want to say was the base, and we're sending elements out, and they're like, "Hey, I don't know what's going on here, but I see a lot of gunfire." And my immediate response as FSNCO, I was like, let me give you all the assets you need.
Yeah.
So now here we are. We have visual from the sky, And we're sitting there watching it going, uh-oh, I think we're witnessing a crime. Somewhat. I don't want to report it. However, these guys are definitely on a high rise shooting down at civilian vehicles. I was the one responsible. Small world, right?
Yeah.
I was the one responsible for those guys getting charged.
Yeah, because you're the American
I brought that aircraft
you did report
in.
it.
I brought that aircraft in to protect my own element.
Absolutely.
Not worried about what these guys were doing. They're like, hey, not a tick. It wasn't troops in contact, but they're like, I don't know what's going on. Can we look at it? And I was like, shoot. Let me get on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, let me get on the radio. Yeah, I can get something in your overhead real quick.
Yep.
And so we did, and yeah, I mean,
Did you get any backlash for it?
fuck no. Sister battalion, not my
Yeah,
problem.
there's a whole
They made a movie
fallout.
about it, didn't they?
Yeah. There's a whole fallout after that whole situation, and I really believe that was a black eye on Second ID until they disbanded.
Yep.
That affected
Well,
the
then
culture.
they came back and they're like, now you're 2-2 instead of 5-2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you
Rebranding.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the people who did that don't exist anymore. Don't worry about
It was
it.
like my shoelaces are still the same color. I
Right.
don't know what you're trying to change, bud.
So
Just change the paperwork is all it did.
yeah, so the culture there kind of that was what Second ID's last time out the door.
Yep. Well, and the first striker unit to go to Afghanistan was a complete failure.
That yes, that also. So that was the last Second ID unit to go out the door, and after that, JBLM became a place.
Well, it became JBLM after that too. They're like, oh, let's get the Air Force in. They're like, oh, that's a trick.
We need some good PR.
What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say that you coming and chatting with us is kind of both of our entire mission. You know, we were up here just chatting, doing our podcast thing, and then you coming over here is it kind of brings truth to what we're all trying to do, right?
Part of the mission.
Exactly. So so I appreciate you coming over and chatting with us because
Thank
that's
you.
kind of
Are you trying
the
to
whole
kick
thing.
me out?
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
Is this when I leave?
No. I'm just trying to. It's the first time I've done it in person.
You know, our
So
missions are to
it's-
combat isolation and just to get people to tell their stories so that other people listening can hear it. And shit, that clicks for me. I'm not the only one thinking or believing or feeling that shit. And you just
coming over here just
randomly
kind
pop up and just sit down and start
I've been
shedding the
here
same
all day,
shit.
bud.
of just coming over
I
here
seen
and
you
chatting
guys
with
getting
us.
set up, and I was like, I'm
I
gonna
gotta
chop
see
it
what
up.
that is.
I'm gonna chop it up.
Well, it just kind of brings proof to the cause.
Yeah.
You know that it actually does work. Groups of guys getting together, chatting, attracts other guys to come and chat.
Well, you know,
It's awesome. It's awesome.
perfect.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
But like I was saying, that was the last time Second ID was out the door. It created JBLM's now a place where people don't go anywhere. You go to JBLM and you train to train.
Yeah, that's where careers go to die.
Killed the culture.
That's where careers
Oh, I don't know
go to
about
die.
that. Kelly Hill's got that saying.
Absolutely killed the culture. And now they put them under 7th ID, so they tried to hide them. And then now the Indian head's all gone, and 7th ID is the patch that's
But the
worn on
Chiefs are
North
still going to go win the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
No, let's go Eagles. No.
Yeah, I think
Go Birds.
Redskins?
Birds, baby.
Yeah.
yeah, I think the Chiefs got a good chance with the 15 players they got on the field all time.
They got Taylor Swift.
I was just saying,
Taylor
and the
Swift.
red. I was like, oh, that's never mind. He did the math for me.
All that matters is they got Taylor Swift on the sidelines.
Yeah.
That's probably why they're winning.
Whatever, dude.
It's scripted.
Oh, 100%.
So is her concerts. She doesn't even sing. She just lip syncs. My daughter's pissed off about it. I was like, "Damn, sweet girl, I'm sorry. Life's gonna be real.
You're gonna get a lot of
When
disappointments
you
like this.
when you grow up, you're gonna be like, oh dang,
hardly any
I didn't know
band.
life was gonna be this hard." And you're like, yeah.
So, like, when you got out, did you like avoid military type things or conversations? Did you try and like cut the military out completely, or did it just integrate with you?
Well, I have a really good group of friends, you know, and I stuck with those those brothers.
So like
I really do.
you're talking military brothers.
Yeah.
Good. Fuck
Yeah. And you know, I don't know if this is allowed to talk about.
It's
Can we
open,
talk
man.
about Jesus?
Okay.
Yeah.
I was
open, brother.
I was blessed. You know, I went through some shit when I was getting out too, and at the end of the day, it was the best experience I had. I mean, I got out on my own accord. I mean, honorable. It was. I mean, I ETS'd. I didn't get kicked out.
Right.
And yeah. So to answer your question, you know, it was really good for me to get out.
I love that.
And I seen a lot of, you know, in my soldiers, you know, they went to another war, and you know, they went over in 2014, and they're like, damn, Sergeant, and they're sending me messages, you know, wish you were here.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm glad I'm not.
Right.
Glad I'm fucking not.
No thanks.
Like I remember when everything kicked off with Ukraine and Russia, and there was this whole conversation about us getting involved with and all that stuff, and people were like, "Yeah, we're about to get ready to go over." I'm like, "You guys are." I got my 214,
I would
man.
do
I'm staying right here.
I got the
2013
best
Afghanistan.
paperwork in my life right now. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere.
I got my 214 blanket, man. I'm gonna go. I'm not going nowhere. You boys
You
gonna have
guarantee
fun.
me like 200%? What's happening now? Like, what's
Nah.
what are we getting from
I'm
this?
donating to Tunnels to Towers and Windy Warrior Project. Other than that, I'm sitting in my garage, smoking a cigarette, drinking a beer, trying to figure out golf. I suck at golf. I don't know
It's
if
hard to
y'all
get good
picked
at
one
golf.
up.
Speaking of
just
golf,
golf,
aren't you guys doing a tournament pretty soon?
Yeah, we have. We actually just started doing like 2 a year.
Okay.
So we have. They're not very big. We're trying to get them bigger. But we have one in South Jersey and one in North Jersey. We're actually going to be doing for the first time. We're planning it right now. A ruck, a 24-hour ruck, actually for teams, where you're going to have, you know, people come in like teams of 10, 20 or more. And, you know, they take the ruck, they walk for 5 miles, come back to the spot, pass it off to the next guy, and do that for 24 hours and
deal me in.
see who can,
We're not gambling.
you know, get the most miles out of that, and then do a fundraiser around it. So
Okay. That's very similar to there's a group here in Helena called Impact Montana, and they do a lot of things for vets and first responders, stuff like that. I don't think they do anything with civilians, but anyway, this June, them and another organization, I can't remember. I was trying to look it up, but my phone's being slow.
They're in a bomb shelter. And that's
Right.
You gotta get on the Wi-Fi.
Yep. But they're doing a 24-hour ruck. But the way it works with them is so you're a team of, I think a minimum is 4, but you only get
$1,000.
counted for a lap or whatever. You only get counted a lap per individual. So if there's 3 of you
Right.
going at the same time, you only get counted for 1 rotation. And I had plans of doing that with some other buddies of mine, but they've kind of
You hear the
fallen
chop.
off the wagon. They're not really in it now. But yeah, I was going to do something like that here. But I think the Go Ruck's the name of the name of the
company,
great
yeah.
organization, great company. There's a lot of rucking clubs here in Montana. We've got one here in Helena, and I think there's 2 down in Bozeman. And my buddy started one up in Big Sandy. But that's another thing for vets. You know, you want to feel the suck again? Let's go ruck some more.
I think that's every veteran's initiative. Just get back to the suck. Because everything
sense,
so much right now is just it sucks. And you're like visually or whatever. I'm not even on social media anymore because I'm like, nope.
You're about to be my friend.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
It's funny
But,
because like the worst shit is always the
But
happiest
you know what
stuff
I'm
you look back
saying?
on.
Is, you know, I stay away from that kind of stuff because it puts me in a bad mindset.
yep.
Where I look at it, I'm like, come on, guys. You
See, that's what groups like ours are trying to
Not
combat.
talking to y'all, but I'm just saying, come on, people.
What's
as
being
a
posted? Whoever's
community.
posting it, like, what the fuck, come on,
Yeah,
what are you doing?
some of the like
And see,
such and such, and it's like, oh my gosh.
and what you're
You
talking
didn't,
about.
you didn't even tie your shoes today, did you? Like, yeah, no, I didn't. I had some slip-ons. Yeah.
What you're chatting about right now is kind of one of the things that I combat on social media is years ago I had a TikTok, and this is why I hate TikTok. I had a TikTok channel where I did trucking stuff because I was trucking, and it seems that all of my posts that were there that were negative views out of the fucking tons of views. And then when I tried to switch it and go to start doing something positive and try teaching the other guys that are new to the industry about stuff, my views just tanked. And now that I'm doing this, it's even harder. You know, trying to put out a positive message on social media, it is one of the hardest things in the world to do. But if you got a negative message, it blows up.
People resonate. That's all people are thinking now.
But that's also
You say one bad word, and they're going to be like, oh.
Well, you're feeding into the narrative, and right now the narrative is nothing but negative thinking.
Yep.
So trying to flip that mindset is like we were talking earlier, flipping the mindset. It's difficult to do. Yes.
yeah.
It's changing your
Flipping the
perspective.
mindset.
Yep. And it's
Words
a battle,
matter,
but
for sure.
exactly. And it's a battle, but it's one that's worth taking. I mean,
Yeah. Well, we've all been some battles.
yep. Oh yeah,
Battles win wars.
you got that right. And it's tough, but it'll happen.
Yeah.
It'll happen. Yep.
Well, I don't see anybody at this table right now that isn't tough enough to win a battle or a war.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you guys' company.
Oh, yeah.
for sure,
We
man.
appreciate
Really
you.
do.
I'm really happy that you came up here and sat down too.
Absolutely.
I'm not ready to leave. I might go get a beer.
You're not leaving.
Can I drink at the table?
I personally don't mind. You guys fine?
It's good, man. It's all good.
I see y'all drinking water, and I'm like, damn, am I the only one
We
drinking
still got to
beer?
drive like
Yeah,
3
we-
hours.
I must
it's
be
Coors Light, it's
the
close enough.
only fucking drunk.
No, you're fine, bud. Nobody minds.
Yeah, no, you're good, man.
It's more the conversation we care
Nicole
about.
Murray,
So, where you guys want to go from here?
yeah, where are you
It
guys
was a
going?
great conversation, man.
Well, extend the invite.
Hey, let's talk about
Fireside chat.
your future.
Yeah.
You're still in, or are you out?
I am still in.
Yeah.
Going through my med board right now, and I'm gambling on my future right now.
13 Fox, they say, huh?
That's what they
A
say.
fister.
I barely know her.
Go be a glow.
Fister, I barely know her.
I know.
That one's getting edited.
Dragon.
That one's getting edited.
So yeah, I went on a retreat with these guys a couple of months ago, and
How'd you meet them, if you don't mind my asking?
so I just signed up for a retreat. They had a retreat in Washington State
Okay.
with the roaming vet.
He is a fister. Look at his hair.
Um,
Yep. That is a Ford Observer.
And my wife was like, "We need to sign up for this." It was a retreat in near Rainier.
Mhm.
So we signed up for that. And
Did you hump the mountain?
We did. We did Skyline.
Cool.
Yeah. Yep. We did Skyline, and we rode the train, and then we rode horses the third day. It was a good time.
Did you like the horse?
Did I like the horse?
Yeah. Did the horse like you?
The horse did like me.
All right. Well, you're.
I have
Well, I mean, you're a fister.
I have a way
Of
with-
course, it's gonna like you.
Yeah, I have a way with the horse.
I'm
You-
piggybacking.
you got
off
a good
Greg
hand?
Anderson so
All the
much
horses-
because I was
Yeah,
talking
push the
something else.
tuck. They're like, oh.
But
I'll let him finish.
so the fireside chats, I could really see that they were getting at, like, people ask you if you're okay, and your immediate answer is like, "Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm
How are
all
you?"
right.
Yeah, but they'll be, "Are you okay though? Like, you're getting out. The separation wasn't exactly your idea. So are you okay?" And that's when you don't have a choice then but to answer like, "Well, I'm kind of fucking scared about it. Yeah, I didn't. This was not my plan." And it was just a very positive place to be, where I don't think I've ever seen a place have so much good energy when you're talking about like the darkest shit. So I told James at the end of the trip, I was like, "Hey, I want to help out." And he was like, "Hey, man, we've had so many people say that they want to help out and then just kind of fizzle out. Like, you want to help out? Reach out to podcasts." So I did that. And in doing that, I started to ask questions about processes, this system, that system, like planning for the future. What are we looking at doing? Like, how are we expanding? And eventually he was like, look, dude, if you want to plan for that, you go ahead and plan for that. The world's your oyster. Go do it. And so that's what I started doing. We got on the Endless Endeavor
The world's
podcast.
your oyster.
Oh, yeah. The world's my oyster.
You just got to crack it open.
Yeah. And we got on the Endless Endeavor podcast. We went down to Texas to do the Stay Zero podcast. We're here doing a retreat down at Snowcrest. And I've decided that this is the job I'm going to have, is working strategic options and outreach for Project Refit, making sure that what we're doing now isn't just what we're doing now, and it kind of shifts over time and molds into what survives. Making sure that what we're doing
Battlefield's
now,
always changing.
yeah, making sure that what we're doing now is what survives at the end, by, with, and through. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna put it all on black, and I said red earlier. I'm gonna put it all. I'm gonna put it all on something. I just figured it was. I've done so much shit that I didn't want to do in the past
You care to elaborate on
12
that?
and a half years. Well, I did jungle.
Since we're here.
I got leptospirosis in jungle school. I was shitting blood for the last 3 days. Finished that. Didn't want to do that.
Hey, I'm sure you didn't want to go through that.
I didn't want to go do that.
Like, oh, darn.
I didn't sign up for that. I dug a hole and slept in it in Alaska in negative 17 degrees. I didn't want to fucking do that.
And you survived it,
Oh,
though.
you went through ECW training, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I missed my daughter's first birthday, my first daughter's first birthday, because I was at JRTC. I missed her.
JRTC. He's that old.
Oh no, you did the Fob Wars at JRTC. It was force on force by the time I got there. I just missing so much stuff, and going different places was cool. It just wasn't worth everything I was missing.
Right.
And
You're missing everything. Yeah.
when I was told, like, hey, I think it's time to move forward with the med board, I was like, well, I've been doing this for, it was almost 12 years at that point, and I was like, I've done so much shit I didn't want to do, and this is where I'm at.
And here I am.
So from here on out, I'm doing everything I can to get medical retirement, 100% permanent total, and then I'm going to do what the fuck I want to do. So
Like, learn golf.
So I'm going to make sure Project Refit.
Good luck.
I'm going to make sure Project Refit has a place in the future, helping veterans and first responders deal with the dark shit that they go through that nobody else wants to talk to them about, and they only want to talk to each other about. And I'm going to leave Washington. We're going to North Carolina where it's warm and sunny.
I don't know. It's looking kind of wet. We're looking at the weather over here, actually. But anyways, continue.
Yeah, so
Charlie Mike.
I want to go somewhere where it's
Exactly.
warm and sunny, and I can work on my golf game all year long.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing. And if it means that we live off of mine and my wife's VA, then
So be it.
shit, we had a kid at 20 years old, and that worked its way into the budget. So fuck it.
Right. You can make anything happen
You
if you
only
want
get
to.
one run.
Yeah,
Make the best of it.
yeah, fuck it.
And we're still up.
So that's my plan.
So how did you guys get hooked up with Turner?
So the Turner the Turner arrangement was through somebody that I knew, and it was this guy Mark, and he introduced me to this other guy Ben, and Ben Kohler is the one that set us up actually with introductions to the management of that ranch in particular, which then grew into meeting some of the other, the actual head of all the ranches. And I explained to him what we were doing, how we're leveraging the property. And the leverage he felt like was an important cause, important reason. And they were more than happy and willing to partner and work with us. So that's how we worked
awesome.
That's how we got into Ted Turner Ranches. It was actually 2 civilians that made it happen. So again, It's going back to that core of it takes all of us.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's super cool that you guys get to partner with Turner
Yep.
Ranch and do that.
We're bringing people to like we're from Jersey. We don't see shit like this out there.
Right.
Nothing. Like there's nothing like this out there, and it's just awe-inspiring when you see it. It just changes your perspective when you get off that plane and you see the mountains right outside of the airport. Oh, this is
Where do you guys fly into? You fly into Bozeman or? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Beautiful area out there. You probably don't have time, but if you get a chance, go drive down towards West Yellowstone, go through that canyon. It's beautiful. It's cool. Beautiful.
It's a big volcano.
That's right on the way to the airport too.
Don't poke the bear.
yeah.
And don't pet the bears.
I don't.
Well,
I got survival instincts. I'm gonna go near one.
right.
I know I'm a snack.
Exactly.
Well, I hate to end it because it's been so fun, but we're getting a lot more
Yeah, I was gonna
ambient,
say, it's
so
gotten a lot
I'm
louder
not as like sure how the ambient's going to come through.
Yeah.
Agreed. So, is anything you guys want to end on, or anything?
Follow us, Project Refit, everywhere.
If you feel like you can't talk to anybody, reach out to us. Because I guarantee you can talk to some. There's different personalities in this for a reason. We were having this conversation a couple days ago. There's veterans who only get attracted to a certain personality. They're only going to open up to a certain personality. If you feel like you don't have anybody, to talk to, reach out to us on Facebook. It's at Project Refit. Same thing on Instagram. The website's projectrefit.us. My email is D, just a letter, at projectrefit.us. He's J at projectrefit.us. There's so many ways to contact us. Whatever you need help with, whether it's social support, you need help with finding a VSO, an accredited VSO in your area. You want to get connected to a VFW. Anything you need to get you
through it.
to get you back in harmony, functioning properly, we can supply that. If you want to come on a retreat, talk to us. We can get you on a retreat.
Yeah, my email is j at projectrefit.us. Website is projectrefit.us. And if you want to come on a retreat, definitely go to the retreat page, get that done. Sign up, email us, let us know that you signed up and you really need it. Or if you really just want to get one of your buddies out there, make it happen. Like, that's what it's all about.
If you know podcasts that we can get on or ranches that we can get on too, same thing. Reach out to them for us. You can CC one of our emails or all of our emails in it too. But getting our name and our mission, along with yours, obviously, out there is really one of the biggest needs.
Yeah, I got a contact. Well, I don't have a contact, but my neighbor actually does a lot for mental health here in Helena, and he sent me a website last night for a guy here in Helena that's got a ranch, and he's got PTSD, Vietnam vet, and he takes guys out there and he helps them. I found out about it last night, so I'll forward that stuff on you guys
Please,
as well.
get on the horse. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Get back on the horse. But so yeah, it's been great chatting with you guys. Started getting busy in here, so
Yeah.
cool. So it's been great. Yeah. So
Hell yeah.
Let me sit down.
of course, man. Of course.